Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. Nah. A Bears Barroom, they're the ones that fight for truth. Every week on 100 proof, even if the Bears win or lose. A Bears Barroom, they're the ones that fight for truth. Every week on 100 proof, no matter if the Bears win or lose. Yo, first, the smartest man, no tweets he's ever missing. Impossible, the mission, call out frauds with precision. A Bears 100 proof, these faces #1 adorer. Slaying dumb tweets, cross-eyed like Control.
Never one to back down, Shayne be calling a fraud. Our dumbest tweets of the week, the mailman goes all out.
Cheers, Bears fans. The fire Puerto Rican barkeeper for Chicagoland. He's the godfather, the one, the real producer. Always keeping the show together with the voice that will seduce. Trubisky now the Firefox, the old timer never stops. IPA, draft, small scraps, barkeep takes the shots. Barflies appreciated worldwide. Canada, Scotland, England, Brazil, Mexico, and Dubai. Dr. Phil is the guy, the one to realize that the barroom needed a show with an endless shoot supply. Go big coat for the narrative on color. Brought the Jasons up, get paid for Mitchell. Now I'm the usher.
Standing up for the truth, 100 proof with the guys. Almost burned off the show, but I came back for the barflies. Flies.
Fuck a fraud in his keyboard, Twitter, tough guys surround us. Bringing truth on the Bears worldwide, barflies astound us. This is the #1 pod, that's the reality of the truth. And if you don't know us by now, Bears 100 proof. A Bears Barroom, they're the ones that fight for truth. Every week on 100 proof, even if the Bears win or lose. A Bears Barroom, they're the ones that fight for truth. Every week on 100 proof, 100 no matter if the Bears win or lose.
The NFC North 2018 Division Champions.
They're the ones that fight for truth. Every week on 100 proof, even if the Bears win or lose. You know MC for Bears Barroom, they're the ones that fight for truth. Every week on 100 proof, no matter if the Bears win or lose.
And they win the NFC North.
Yeah. You know you got to feel it. You got to feel it. You got to feel it. Bears Barroom. You know you gotta feel it. Yeah. You gotta feel it. You know you're feeling.
Bring the band back together.
Keeping it 100, baby.
God.
Yeah. Fulfilling. Another fulfilling 44 on the track.
Getting past the first stone.
Bears.
#1 rated 100 for the Bears Barflies.
100 proof.
Shout out to John Farr, the super producer. Barflies, stand up, unite. Aldo, Gandia.
100 proof.
It's the Bears Barroom. And of course, it's only one. The smartest man in the barroom. Come on now, the mailman, your Shayne. Money man Marsaw. Deliver the mail. MC fulfill for the Bears Barroom. Your boy, Draft Dr. Bears Phil. 100 proof.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Yeah, 100 proof.
I like that he threw completions. I like that he played the game fast. I like that he made some plays on his own, you know, that were kind of unscripted. There was like that touchdown pass, for instance. And then I'll tell you this too, there's another play that he made in that game, which was one of the last passes of the game, where he could have easily zeroed in on a particular receiver and just forced it. And they gave him a look that we haven't practiced very much, and he made a hell of a decision in a great throw to keep that 4-minute thing alive there at the very end. And those little plays sometimes the outsiders can go unnoticed, but that was a big time play that he made again in that at the end of the game situation, decision making wise. So I want to see him continue to keep trusting what we're doing, and us keep trusting what this offense is doing. Staying patient. Okay, we're slowly getting better. We're not close, but we're slowly getting better. The good part is that we're 2-1, right? And we know that there's a ton of room to improve.
This is Bears 100 Proof, and you just heard head coach Matt Nagy talking about Mitchell Trubisky and his performance Monday night against the Washington Redskins. My name is Aldo Gandia, and I serve the drinks here, but don't you worry, the stars of our show are here, and they are, of course, Shayne, the smartest man in the barroom, Marsaw, and Draft Dr. Phil. We have a very special guest scheduled to join us in about 15 to 20 minutes. His name, Jurkovic of ESPN 1000. Really looking forward to talking to him, but first I'm also looking forward to talking to my two partners. Phil and Shayne, how are you? Starting with you, Shayne Marsaw.
I'm doing good. Little 2-game winning streak will put a little sugar back in your life, make everything a little bit sweeter. And just so everybody knows, Bears Barroom, we are very much in fucking business, Aldo. We're not out of business, are we?
Somebody said we were out of business. Somebody thought somebody who clearly has not been keeping up with the latest news and events.
We're fucking rolling.
Is the newspaper business still in business?
I don't think it is. That's probably why that person thought that we were out of business. But
have you blogged in a while, Aldo? You right?
I have not. I decided in order to maintain my sanity, which is to close down the website and not post any stories, because I was also doubling as besides the executive producer and co-host and all this shit on the radio network, I was also doing all the editing and some writing on the website, and so I decided not to do that this year. Now I am planning, hopefully, of opening up the website again soon and just placing our shows there so that they can be all organized. So everything, Tape Never Lies will have its own place. Bears 100 Proof will have its own place. Vegas Scores and Odds will have its own place, as opposed to scrolling down or whatever. All your songs will have its own place. So I'm hoping to have that done soon.
Oh, what about the Bears?
Just called. She's so excited.
Who's perfect timing? I was going to ask about the Bears Barroom YouPorn clips. Are we going to have a spot?
We are working on our own YouPorn channel. Is it YouPorn?
Kyle Long's first guest.
Now, great. I did not see the undoctored photo, for lack of a better way of putting it, but the photo that I saw where Kyle Long's penis was fuzzed out. I don't want to see it. I don't want to. Kyle Long's penis was fuzzed out. It looked like he's got a big 10-inch penis, and then Greg Braggs on Vegas Scores and Odds comes on in the chat room and says it's Kyle Short. So what's the deal there, guys?
Oh, he's taking
Braggs is always in a pool somewhere, so you shouldn't talk either.
I was in the pool. I was in the pool.
Yeah, well, the new subject, because I don't want to get in trouble with Kyle Long, that's for sure.
Keeping it 100, baby.
Well, we've got, I think, about 15 to 20 minutes before I'm scheduled to ring Jurko in. So let's talk a little bit about the Chicago Bears and what happened at Hallis Hall this morning. Matt Nagy had a presser, and he touched on a number of subjects. I want to play, let me find my notes here. I want to play, first of all, what he talked about regarding the run game, because I know that's a huge topic here at the Barroom and in other places. And so listen to what he says about the Barroom, and then we'll get your thoughts. And by the way, Matt Carstensen of Cars Keys might pop in at any moment, right, Shayne? Shayne is popped out.
Sorry, that mute button hits me every time. Yeah, he's good to go. You can add him in.
Oh, good. Okay, I'll add him in while I play this soundbite.
It needs to get better. Our run game needs to improve, and so there's not much more you can say to that other than we know that we want to be better, from quarters 1 through 3, and not just in the 4-minute mode there in the fourth quarter.
It's so hard to evaluate an offensive line, and I know this.
It is.
It's hard for us.
Oh, okay.
because sometimes you can think they're not playing well, and Harry says they are, whatever. But
I know when they're playing well and they're not playing well. It's real. It's not. I don't know. It's. I know when they're good and when they're not good.
That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
How much of the issues are offensive line related? I mean, is it not? Are you not getting what you expected out of an offensive line that was counting on continuity from last year?
I think we can play a little bit better there. I do. I think we can be better. They know that.
Thank God.
You mentioned the running game. What concerns you about?
Okay. Mark
Thank
Potash.
God. We talked about that, Aldo, on last call.
And
is
kudos,
he going to fucking be truthful?
Right. And kudos to Mark Potash to ask him that question. There was a follow-up that I'll play later, but you're absolutely right, Phil. Is he going to be honest about it? And he was.
Yes.
And he wasn't covering up for anybody. And he was asked some questions about Trubisky. I think he was honest about that. Matt Carstensen has joined us, and I want to get his input. I don't know if you heard the whole thing, but he basically, said this offensive line needs to do a better job, Carson. It's something that you've been talking about too.
I mean, it's been brutal to this point. There's no other word. Like every time it feels like we're building consistency or a long drive, there's one or two players, and it's often not just one. It's like two guys blowing assignments, letting guys through. And it completely disrupts. That's how you get a 1st and 40. That's how you get a 2nd and 29 and all this stuff. It's been inexcusable for the part that was supposed to be the best part of this offense.
Shayne,
I was talking to my father tonight. Sorry to cut you off.
All right, please go ahead.
And I said, Dad, if we call you up, can you talk for 5-10 minutes about the Bears and what you thought? And my dad's old Sicilian Italian. He's like old, head coach and offensive line guru, really. He's like, absolutely. But I'll tell you right now, number 75, he needs to take a long fucking look in the mirror. I go, Dad, did you hear the news? He was taking a long look on Facebook Live. He's like, what's that? I go, they had him on TV. He's naked. They showed him naked after the game. He's like, they did what? He's like, I used to tell Sam, I don't understand how these women are in the locker room talking to these guys walking around naked with their schlongs hanging out. And I go, oh, Dad, this was one of his teammates filming. He's like, oh, my God, I feel bad, but he still sucked on Monday night. And it's true. I haven't gotten to the all-22 cars because Scrollgate, Game Pass, whatever the fuck is going on with Game Pass.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know if it's like taunting me.
It's like just the Bears, though. That's the part. It's
really
crazy.
Whoops, I fumbled. I'm like, how many fucking times you gonna fumble today?
Which makes me think, like, with the quick turnaround for the game, they just don't want to make that available for everybody, so we can't just sit down and pick it apart all the time.
I wondered that, too.
There's a lot to digest.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, my God. It's one of the most important games to look at, in my opinion. And I literally got off the field, and Shayne's calling me, like, are you going to fucking answer my text? I go, I've been on the field coaching all night. By the way, Steelers, Cowboys tonight, tie. Game 12-12, and I was so proud of my kids.
Wow. Phil is talking about a team that he coaches named the Steelers. So congratulations, Phil.
Yeah, it was a great win, tie, but we really won because there wasn't a shot in hell I ever thought we were going to tie.
Flag football, by the way, and Devin Ottochian folded up some little kid.
Oh, he folded some kid in half, and it's one of those moments, Aldo, where you're like, pretending that you're yelling at your kid, but you're really like, yeah, motherfucker. That's how you come on the out. He comes from the first safety position. This one kid, they had like a ringer. Let me tell you this real quick. This is 100 proof. I get there tonight. My wife's like, don't fucking yell at anybody. Embarrass me. I go, I'm going over there. I'm going to fucking yell at whoever's running this thing because apparently they had a draft. I find out they had a draft, and I got all the other kids. So I got all the kids no one wanted.
It's like your fantasy team.
If their parents are listening, I got your kids. And I was so proud of them tonight. But that's what happens. I go up to the guy. I go, what the hell happened? Turns out one of my ex-players I coached is part of this whole scheme. I go, this is fucking dumb. I go, we should have had a draft, see these kids, and make it fair. It's not about winning. It's about teaching them the game. So I go, this is dumb. So I said, and he's like, I'm sorry. We play the game. Now, they have a ringer on their team. This kid is a freaking Willie Galt speed, Aldo. So I'm playing cover
on the 83 Bears film.
I'm playing cover 2. And I put Devin on the hash and this other kid that's tough on the hash. And I'm like, don't let this kid get outside you. That's your only job. Grab his flag. So long story short, the kid gets outside the other kid one time, scores a touchdown. Well, the next time, Devin comes through the alley and fucking lights this kid in half. Doesn't go for the flag, goes for just folds him, like Shayne said. And I'm yelling at my son, like, you don't do that. But really, I'm like, great job.
I've never been prouder right now. Good job. Yeah.
Exactly.
We're getting ice cream after this one.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like, can we get soda after the game? Because his mom don't let him drink soda. So that's the quick story. That is a quick story from me.
that
was
a
proud.
quick story.
And then I'm like, holy shit, Shayne. I'm just getting off the field. And all 22 is up. Like, literally. I go, oh, great.
Yep.
I haven't had a time to even fucking cut any tape. So the tape never lies. Back to my point. We'll be out. Hopefully, I'll get it all done by tomorrow sometime in the evening. If I'm good, it'll be done earlier. But worst case, what's tomorrow? Thursday, Aldo?
Tomorrow is Thursday, yeah.
Friday morning, without a doubt.
And
I'll have it up.
We'll promote the shit out of it. Hey, somebody posted a clip of Kyle Long pulling on a run play, and he falls to the ground, and he looked like Raggedy Ann. I mean, the thing about Kyle is that it appears like technique-wise, everything is like, you know, when a golfer loses his putting stroke or whatever, everything appears wrong right now with him, which is a shame because this was the healthiest he's been in years. I don't know. What do you think about that, Shayne?
Well, I think, you know, all of us are sports fans, and it doesn't matter if it's the NFL, if it's the NBA. You can only take so much wear and tear. And when you're not a 200-pound guy that's, 5'6" or 6 foot. How tall are you, Phil? 5'7" and a half.
5'7.5".
Okay, but these are large human beings, and he went through that long span there where it was just injury after injury after injury after injury, and not only takes a physical toll, it takes a mental toll. So you get to that point where you're playing tentative because you're worried about what's next. Oh shit, I don't want to get rolled up on again. So he's pussyfooting down the fucking line. He's worried about who's going to roll up on him, and I think that's because. Guys, one thing we never had to worry about with that kid was intensity or wanting to kill somebody. Sometimes we thought he needed to tone it down because unsportsmanlike conduct number 75, and it would come at the most crucial time. I've seen almost none of that with Kyle Long. He's a tentative football player, and I think it's a mental issue more so than physical. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but that's my take on it.
I mean, we're going to get Jurko on because I want to hear what he has to say. But Cars and I were texting earlier, too, about some of the formations and personnel. But it seems like offensive line-wise, and my dad said it, too, because I've, converted this guy. He's like, I'm anxious when I watch them because I want them to win so bad for you. I want them to win so bad. And he's like, every fucking play, somebody on the line is making a mistake. It's like not one time can they be consistent. And the only time there is a consistent is in pass protection. That's it. There's never a run play blocked correctly. He's like, I almost, and I'm stealing this from him, I almost feel like the coach, the offensive line coach, is teaching them to block a spot. And they don't have any rules about blocking front. So it goes back to what I said with you, Aldo, on last call. If they have to condense that run game and go over every goddamn front in how to block outside zone. What is it? What you have to take it back to middle school and point to the guy who you're blocking. Because is it James Daniels at center that's not able to count the box and call out the mic and understand where they're going to block? Or is it, Mitch Trubisky not doing it? Is it, what is going on? Because every run play, even the fucking 4-minute drive where, people are comparing Montgomery to Le'Veon Bell and what he was doing. Le'Veon Bell did that by himself. It's not, and I haven't seen the all 22 of it yet. So, but watching it, I'm like, that's not even blocked right. The kid just stayed behind, patiently used his instinct and broke out the back door. It's like, imagine if you block this right for this kid, how good he's going to be. I know Gaines on Shy Fans in the Stands talked about Barry Sanders. Like, this kid's 225 pounds, and Shayne, that 8-yard run he had, he must have broke, I think every player on the Redskins had a hand on him, and he broke every Like, you can't overlook that as a coach.
Right.
This kid is special.
That's the thing. That's why you imagine when we get this kid to the second level, and it's just a one-on-one when it's not 1-on-6. Yeah, with a full head of steam.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. Hey, Cars,
to your point, Cars, real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's got no steam. He's juking and putting power moves in a condensed area that's unbelievable.
And that tells you his strength, right? Like he's trying to cut and there's nothing there, and he's literally pushing through guys and fighting for 8 yards with nothing, right? Just from a standstill. But can you believe that to point, Bobby Massey's probably been our best offensive lineman to this point? If we asked you 2 years ago when you would go on your epic Twitter Bobby Massey rants, and you thought we would get to this point where Bobby Massey's by far our best offensive lineman, I'd be blown away. If that was the case, I think like we were falling apart, and we sure are.
Who would have guessed before the game that Cornelius Lucas wasn't our worst on the field?
Well, that's what Hart 4803 in the chat room says. He says, I give Cornelius Lucas a lot of credit. I didn't miss Bobby Massey in the game. And then John in the chat room says, I remember when Kyle Long was arguably the best player on the team, and he was near perfect franchise alignment. I hate to see him make mistakes and play with what looks like such incompetence. And that's keeping it 100. That's what we do here, John. And you brought it there. He's been a guest on this show, and we love him, and we love the things that he has said and done for this organization. But right now, we need to keep it 100. He is not nearly the player that he was, and it is concerning because, as Shayne said, it could be the result of just wear and tear. And if that's the case, we need to be scouting offensive linemen for the 2020 draft because this is not
what
good.
Scares me, right? Like guard is now a position of need. Prince Amukamara is a position of need.
Don't get Aldo aroused.
But I mean, like, we looked at this as a deep team, and I think what we've seen a little bit so far is this team isn't as deep as we really expected, and maybe some of it's rust and the NFL is now really the back 3 quarters of the season that really matters, and we'll see that change. But
let me ask you though, is this the reason why we didn't see these guys in the preseason? I mean, with the sports science, the Bears staff is around these guys 24/7 and almost 365. They may very well be like, listen, these guys have a limited amount that they can go, and we can't give them the extra.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I think it's an NFL issue
if they said that.
I understand that, Phil, but I'm just saying the way that the game is played now, that's the world that we live in.
Dude, I think they're so bad because they didn't play in the preseason. I really do. Everybody could fucking I've been around football my whole fucking life. My whole life. It's so important. They look preseason-esque.
But that's an NFL problem. Like this is, if you really look around, Green Bay's having this issue. If you look at Minnesota's offense, they're running the ball well, but they've got 2 all-pro wide receivers that they can't take advantage of because their timing's off. You look at what's happening in Pittsburgh and all these different like it's an NFL issue. Nobody took this seriously, and it's like I call it the old Popovich Spurs thing, right? Pop didn't care about the first half of the season. Just get me to the playoffs and everything will take care of itself. And I think that's where we're going with the NFL. Is as long as I stay healthy, the guys will figure it out. I just need to be 2-2 through the first 4 games of the season, and I'm going to be in a place where I can still make the playoffs. And I think we see it really well because the Bears are our team, but it's a problem across the NFL right now.
I am with you 110%. It is a huge problem. And when we talk about protecting quarterbacks, I think we need to start with the NFL working with college football and figuring out how they can churn out more accomplished offensive linemen, because this is huge. And we hate to see more rule changes to remedy this situation. That's, in my mind, is not the way to approach this. The way to approach this is with better coaching, and maybe the NFL needs to adopt some of the ways that the NCAA, because we don't see these kinds of injuries for
Wasn't
quarterbacks.
That supposed to be our strength, though?
Yes.
Don't we have the best offensive line coach ever?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With their almost to a man.
Yeah.
That we talk to. Harry's the guy, and I mean, how much accountability does he have?
I don't know if he's. I really think you hit the nail on the head.
BARROOM, we keeping it 100, baby.
Oh,
Right,
Kyle. Yes, we are. Keeping it 100. We're talking about you. Keeping it 100.
We're keeping it 100 about you, Kyle, in the bar.
Leaders.
I really think there's something with Harry there. This isn't happening in New England. And to your point, maybe the pass pro with the Vikings, but their run game, they know who they're fucking blocking. They're going after it. I'm watching them. I mean, this is like comedy show. And I'm putting it up, and I feel bad. I cut out 12 plays of Charles Leno not doing his assignment because it would have been the Charles Leno's tape never lies. And then people get all upset. I'm picking on people. Well, they're putting that out there. If we go to a fucking Broadway play and the fucking lead actor or actress sucks and Aldo's writing a review on it, is he going to say the performance was great because it wasn't? Like, what do you want? I'm not going to lie about this stuff. It is what it is. And right now, I think I have an issue with Harry Heastand and what I see on tape. It's just it's a sin to not be able to run the ball with 32. It's also a sin to have him run for 9 yards and pull him out and put in Tariq Cohen to run on 3rd and 1. Like, that kind of stuff just baffles my mind. It's like it goes against everything.
But that's where I go back to systemically with the Bears offense. There are problems everywhere. It starts at the line. We're seeing it in some of the pass blocking. We're seeing it in the quarterback play. We're seeing it in the way that the wide receivers are attacking. There's a lot formationally that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, I think everyone has a part to blame, but the offense is completely different than what we saw last year. Yeah. And it's not in the way we've grown beyond it. It's like we have gone remedial as even to where we ended up last year. And so are we changing blocking schemes? Are we, Cornelius Lucas had a great game after a kind of a little bit of a rough start. Heastand should get some credit for that, but the other 4 fell apart. Leno has been Mr. Penalty this year, right? Like he just can't get anything straight. It all starts to me from the top down, and I think they're just playing through rust. I think it's going to get fine, but you're not going to see that probably until after the bye week.
Well, and let's remember that this offensive line has had slow starts even before Heastand was here, and they seem to get better as the year goes on. And so we could, again, maybe point to the lack of preseason activity against real live opponents, and that could be the case. We don't know, but maybe Jurko has an opinion on that. Let me call him in now. He just responded to my text and confirmed the number that I have for him. So I am dialing him up now. John Jurkovic of ESPN 1000.
Hey, it's Jurko. You reached my phone. I can't get to it right now. Leave a message and the number, and I'll call you back as quick as possible. Thank you.
Hey, John.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Skype.
John, it's Aldo with Bears Barroom. We'll call you right back.
Is Tommy Harris there?
He and John and Tommy Harris and who else is not showing up for our shows are all probably having a drink together somewhere.
Peter Bukowski.
That's right.
The tape never lies.
That's right, Heidi. It never lies.
Well, Ha would have missed picking up that call too, according to Bukowski. So
don't ruin the tweets of the week, Cars.
We all knew where you're going with this one. Absolutely.
Once we get Jurko in here, I'm going to say some introductory remarks, and then the three of you guys can pepper him with questions, and then I'll come in when I see you guys are struggling. So that'll probably be never. Let me try.
How long do we have him for?
Well,
give you a time?
He did not give me a time, but Greg Braggs told me that on Wednesday nights he likes to go out drinking, so he could be at a bar having a few drinks, and if that's the case,
nice.
we'll probably
Even
have him
better.
all night. Exactly.
You though, right?
I'm just trying to throw something at the wall and see if it sticks.
That's my man.
Aaron. The thing that gets me excited, though, as we all focus on this offense, and it becomes like the key.
Hey, it's Jurko. You reached my phone. I can't get to it right.
Johnny.
Let me make sure that number he gave me is the same one I'm dialing. Oh, no, he's calling me on this phone.
Oh, you could have did it.
Yeah. See, but the thing is when I answer a call on Skype, it knocks you guys
us all out.
Yeah.
Text him.
Accept. John, are you there? John, you guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Let me call him one more time here.
We don't have turd.
It is John Jurkovic, ESPN 1000. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Let me do some introductions here, and then I'm going to do a special introduction for you. I'm going to start with Matt Carstensen. He is the host of our Cars Keys, which is our analytics nerdy show. Matt, why don't you say hi so that way he can hear your nerdy voice?
Well, with an introduction like that, I don't think I need really anything else to say. Just know when puberty hits, like that will all go.
I got you.
Okay. And then there is Shayne, the smartest man in the barroom. I think we call him the smartest man because he has the smartest ass. He is one who is probably going to say something funny every other second. Shayne, say hi.
Hey, what's up, Jurko? I'm glad you came on with us, man.
What's going on, Shayne? I got you.
And then there is the world famous draft Dr. Phil. He is the idiot savant of football.
How you doing, Jurk?
How are you? I'm doing well.
And he has also put together.
I'm getting hit with 4 people today. Huh? I like it.
No, this is
like the old days when the Bears needed a yard. They just all blocked you.
Yeah, not the Bears I knew. We were fucking with them guys. 93, 94, 95. Then I left, and they kept beating the crap out of them. It was unbelievable.
Jurko, let me play a little something we put together for you.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, raise your glass of grappa and give a warm barroom welcome to our next guest, the former Meteor, yes, Meteor, from Calumet City, Illinois, by way of Croatia. Oh yes, the Meteor man himself from Thornton Fractional North High School, who went on to star as a defensive tackle at Eastern Illinois University. And then, of course, he took his talents to the National Football League, where he played for the Dolphins, and he was at the Jaguars, even the Browns at the end. But do you want me to say that he... Look, this guy was a cheesehead. But don't let those ugly uniforms and horrible Green Bay Packer colors fool you, because this credible Croatian has a large football acumen. He's smart. And you probably are already aware of whom I'm talking about because of his amazing work daily at ESPN AM 1000 in Chicago, where he routinely schools his radio partner, Carmen DeFalco. He's a speaker of truth, making his first ever appearance on Bears 100 Proof. The man, the myth, the sports talk legend. It's John Jurkovic. Jurko!
John, we left out the fact that you're also a very good-looking man, too. So.
Well, you guys are too kind. I appreciate that. I tell you, that's a nice build-up. I was born in Germany, too. From Croatia. I'm of Croatian descent. But I was born in Germany, then came over here when I was 2 months old. Yeah.
Wow. How about that?
You always got to add that. I got a little crowd in me, you know?
We're going to do a re-edit on that track and send it to you. How about that?
Beautiful.
All right, I'm going to open up the question to the guys. We've been talking a lot about Kyle Long just before you joined us, so I know they might start there. So let me spin the bottle here and ask our guest, Matt Carstensen, to start off the questioning. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so Jurko, we've been talking a lot about the offensive line and how struggling it's been. You know, there's a lot of blocking issues, a lot of missed assignments. And specifically with Kyle Long, does it look to you like he's probably lost a little bit of his fastball so far?
Well, usually what happens with age is you take over with some experience. So you're hoping the experience makes up for the lack or the degradation of skill. And, yeah, he's lost a little bit of speed. He's lost a little bit of pop. He's lost a little bit of punch. But you're hoping in some of that veteran experience and some of that guile ends up taking over. So you kind of equalize and you get the kind of the same player that you had before. Now, if that doesn't happen, he ends up getting victimized. I tweeted during the game that, it looks like Kyle Long was getting trucked at some points, and he was. Right. He's getting taken back. I had a hand in his chest. He was getting taken back. I think the three guys that I'm most disappointed in is James Daniels in the switch to center. I think we were sold a lot about James Daniels in the middle. I think Kyle Long is my second area of concern. Just physical fitness. Kyle Long's as tough as they come. And Kyle Long's never going to complain about being beat up, even though it's early in the season. Kyle's still going to show up, and Kyle's still going to try to get things done for you. And then Charles Leno. Charles Leno was a guy that gave up only a handful of sacks last year. Charles Leno has been victimized this year by the speed rush, and he's also been penalized more than I think he was last year. So in my areas of concern, the center number 1, the right guard number 2, left tackle number 3. I'm not worried about White here. I think he does a fine job. And then Massey didn't play, but I think the kid, for being an emergency starter, stepped in very nicely and played himself a commendable game.
When you talk about Charles Leno, because that's where I want to go. I do this series on YouTube, The Tape Never Lies, for Bears Barroom, and I break down the tape. And I see Charles Leno. You're on the other side of the ball, but you're great at keeping it 100. Professionally, when you see a person or a teammate getting paid, and then they have made the Pro Bowl and what have you, and then you go into the season, like you said, to me, it looks like this guy did not work on his craft and take pride. How, as a teammate, do you confront that issue, or you just let it ride? Because he has been the worst, in my opinion, lineman on the team and the biggest disappointment in my film study.
Well, he arrived last year. Isn't that what they're going to say? He arrived last year. My other question with his arrival last year, he got engaged in the offseason.
Yes.
He got engaged on the football field, right?
Right.
He got engaged on the football field. I don't know if he's gotten married yet or if he's waiting to have his wedding. But, that all of a sudden becomes something in your life also, whereas opposed to before you had just football and you were concentrating on establishing yourself and getting yourself ready to rock. Now you've got this and you've got a little bit of a distraction. So does it maybe hinder your preparation going into the season along with the lackadaisical preseason camp that they have? Yeah, I would say that there's a handful of these fellas on the offensive side of the ball that probably needed a more vigorous training camp.
Yes.
I also didn't believe the PFF stuff with Charles Leno when they said, "Oh, well, if you listen to Pro Football Focus," which I believe is a crock of crap.
Thank you.
These guys are just so highly this and that. No. My eyes don't tell me, deceive me. I know what I see when it comes to him, and what I see with him is a guy that's trying as hard as he can and is not getting it done at times. And then, oh, no, he's one of the best left tackles in the game. Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I don't care about it. So all I want to see is a guy produce on the football field. Whitehair produces on the football field.
Yeah, he does.
I don't hear Massey's name. Of course, I didn't hear it last week because he wasn't playing. But I don't hear Massey's name having a problem. Leno needs to refocus. You're one of the highest paid offensive linemen on your team. You're theoretically supposed to be a leader. Then lead. Lead by example. And lead by playing well. That's what I'm looking for. I've never been a big fan of Charles Leno. So when he got paid a little bit, I scratched my head and I said, I don't know what they see. But they drafted him, I guess, so they're going to pay him. I have no idea. He's paid. Now that performance needs to be on the field. When I saw the guy run by him,
oh, my God.
Like, you got to be kidding me.
It was like a revolving door.
Yeah, he got blown up by safeties twice.
Jurko, the week before on the toss on the toss play against Denver. Have you ever seen an offensive lineman fold like a sack of potatoes against a safety like that? Against the safety?
Well, I haven't seen it against the safety, but I've seen offensive tackles victimized. But no, you're right. Yeah, that happened with Charles Leno, and it's unacceptable. They've got to power through it. They got to forget about it, and they just got to move on. But that's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to happen. And guys, listen, we're all going to have plays. I go back and look on my career, and it was Bortzi and wasn't Hilgenberg at center. It was the other guy, Mark Fontenot. Jerry Fontenot. Jerry Fontenot. Those guys put me on skates and moved me 8 yards downfield on a play one time. They were high-fiving on the way back to the huddle. Now, they had their play. They had their day. So every once in a while, you're going to have your day where the other team just did one hell of a job, and you look like you don't belong in the league. That happened to Leno. He's got to be able to respond. He's got to be able to play better. He's paid like a superstar. He needs to be a superstar. That's it. That's just the way it works.
Jurko, the hits seem to keep on coming for Kyle Long. We saw the big story in the locker room with Tariq Cohen, and I know you didn't have to deal with the social media aspect of it while you're playing.
Are you sure that was a big story? Or was that a little?
Exactly. I didn't want to. He's getting beat up enough, man. I wasn't going to go there, but I guess we can. Yeah. But how you've been in the NFL locker room, and we've all played sports here, not at the level that you did, of course, but still, we know how once you're in a locker room, you kind of know it's a brotherhood, and it's kind of like going to Vegas. What goes on in Vegas stays there, kind of like the same thing.
Right.
How would you handle that if a teammate, like if you were in that position and what Tariq Cohen did, in that if you were Kyle Long, how would you be? I mean, how would you handle that with a teammate?
Well, here's how it should be handled by the organization. There are no phones in the locker room. Period. That's how I would handle it. You don't bring your phone out in the locker room. That stays in there. When everybody's out of the locker room, you get on the bus, you want to bring the phones out, bring the phones out. In the locker room, the phones don't come out. Nobody takes a picture. The NFL usually has NFL films in some of these locker rooms, and they're taking all the footage. Everybody wants to create their brand. Everybody wants to say, "Ooh, look at me. I'm the guy recording it in here." And then when you do something inadvertent, you do something unintentional, all of a sudden you got to pay for the consequences. If I'm the manager, the coach, the team, I say nobody brings the phone out. Club dub is our thing. It's not to be shared with the world. If NFL Films wants to share it with the world, then NFL Films can do it. But nobody inside this locker room is going to share it. And that's what you do, and that's how you handle it. Cohn didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
So you could be a little bit mad at you because little Kyle was flaunted about, if you will. Must have been real cool.
He was in the pool. He just
got out of the shower. Hey, speaking of Tariq, are you concerned at all about Tariq? The yards aren't there. I mean, he had 4 rushes for -2 yards on Monday night. He had a penalty. I went to Bourbonnais for 9 out of the 10 practices that were open to the public, and he was making mistakes. And it just seems like now that he's in his 3rd year,
you dropped.
Oh, I dropped him.
I was wondering why he didn't laugh at my joke.
Maybe he had enough of us. Let's see.
There's a lot of reasons for that one, Shayne. Yeah.
I can hear you, Jurko. I don't know if you heard my question. I was talking about Tariq Cohen. Are you concerned at all about his lack of production and the fact that, he seems to not be totally focused on his duties and so forth?
Well, I'm not worried about Tariq. Tariq needs carries to be productive. If you're not getting the carries to be productive, what's the player to do? It's like a wide receiver not getting his touches. Am I mad at Javon Wims? Am I blaming him for not being able to catch the ball? No, I'm not mad at Javon Wims at all. Why? Because they're not getting him the football. The offense isn't getting him the football. Tariq Cohn needs the football to be able to be successful. And right now in the offense, the way it's working, it's not his time, and he's not getting his chances, nor is he getting his opportunities. He touched the ball 159 times last year in 16 games. So what did he really average? He didn't really average anything last year. So 10 touches a game doesn't really dictate to anybody that you're going to be somebody's superstar. It doesn't work that way. So, I wish Tariq Cohen could touch the ball more. He could have a bigger impact, but it's not his fault they're not getting him the football. I think your coach likes to get a little fancy. I think the coach likes to be, hey, look at me, I'm the wizard. Look at me, look at what I'm doing. And then at the end of the day, there's a whole lot of activity and not a lot of accomplishment right now. So I don't blame Tariq Cohen. I blame the guy that's devising the offensive game plan. He's got to put you in there to be a part of the plan. If he doesn't put you in there to be part of the plan, you can't be an impactful player.
Now, speaking of getting gimmicky and tricky, let's go back into the game real quick. Because I had a debate with Aldo about this, and, some fans on our show are on the other side of this, and most are on my side, including Shayne. So I want your opinion. It's 2nd and 3 from the 6-yard line, and they decide to throw the ball to open Allen Robinson, but it's 28-3 at the time.
Right.
What's your feeling in regards to that play call? We all know the fucking throw sucked to keep it 100. We all know that was an awful throw. But I felt, and I'll just say this, and then you could say whether you agree with me or not, I felt it was neglectful of the coach, that he was trying to pad this kid's confidence or stats or whatever to keep him in the headlines for 4 touchdowns. He already had 3. So let's run the fucking ball and put these guys out of their misery and be the Bears. That's what I would have done as a coach. Jurko, your thoughts? A
multifaceted question. That's the play that was intercepted, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yes. It's not
That's
hindsight is 2020.
Right. So here's how it works. Should you run the ball in that situation? Yes. You should run the ball, and then on 3rd down, if you want to throw, you're so far away, go ahead.
Exactly.
You're 100% correct. They're trying to pad the stats. They're trying to build this kid's confidence. He's a kid with no confidence, and they're trying to give him confidence over the course of the game. Fine. I heard him talk about that play, and he says, why threw the back shoulder? That's a read. You don't predetermine what you're going to do.
Exactly.
You read that play. The wide receiver's trying to beat that guy. If he doesn't beat him, that's when the back shoulder throw comes in. If he beats him, you got to throw the fade into the end zone. So guess what? Your wide receiver beats him. He's running the fade route, which is what he's supposed to do. If he doesn't, he's looking up. If he's even, that's when the fade stop comes. If he's got a beat, that's when the fade comes. You can't predetermine the throw. When I heard him say, hey, I was throwing the back shoulder play, the fade stop, you can't decide you're going to do that before you get the ball snapped. You got to see it. Either you're going to throw the fade or it's even coverage. Here comes the back shoulder throw, the fade stop. So when I hear him talk, I'm just like, okay, he doesn't have a command. They're working with him. He's still developing. Oh, boy, when's it going to happen? And, eventually you hope it will happen. That's where you're at.
Jurko, to just kind of continue with that, where is your, we've seen, I go back to the play in, I believe it was in Denver. It was a 3rd and 8, and they dump it off short to Burton for no gain. And this kid's drafted number 2 overall, and you're not even trusting him to make a throw on 3rd and 8 that's, going to go past the sticks. Do you think that, Mitch is here, and we're all going to deal with that and see where that goes, but do you think that the head coach himself isn't really a believer in the quarterback?
the head coach himself has to realize what he has. And that's what your head coach is doing. He's got to work with what he has. You can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. You understand? So the coach has to realize what he has, and then he's got to make the best of what he has. You know, that's the saying. I'm not saying that's what he is, but that's the saying. So Nagy's got to sit here and say, okay, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What's my game plan going into this week against Denver, whose defense can rush the quarterback? And you saw them get pressure. They didn't get any sacks, but they did have pressure. So the head coach has got to be a realist. So he puts together a game plan, a realistic game plan where he knows he got to throw the ball short. I got to get out of his hand quick, give him one read or two reads. You know, basically the one read, it's either this guy or that guy. You don't want to complicate him too much because he starts patting the ball and gets himself in trouble. It was a broken play that led to the big play that allowed them to kick the field goal. You know, so he climbed the pocket. He found a guy that was running alone because it was a broken play and he had 5 seconds to throw the ball. You know, so you got to understand what you have a quarterback. Against this team that he was playing, they were going to open it up a little bit. Listen, they don't go too deep. They need to go deep. They need to stretch the defense. The longer they don't stretch the defense, the more they know you can squeeze these guys. Everybody's sitting there on the front foot, ready to break on everything that they're running. They wonder why they can't get anybody open. You can't get people open because you're sitting there, you're turning and you're throwing, and you're not threatening anybody deep, and you're not putting anybody on the back foot. You're not forcing safeties to backpedal with anything. The patterns work when they backpedal and they turn.
Right.
When they turn to go into a full run, that's when you can snap off a pattern, and that guy can't recover. But if they never get to the point where they've got to turn their hips and run, then they're never convinced you're going to run anything deep. So that's the problem they've got, and they're hoping to develop to the point where they can do it.
And so to kind of play off of that, you know, when we go against Minnesota, they probably got just maybe slightly less talented, but really solid edge rushers. We're going to see a lot of that same game plan, much better safety play. How do you think that this is going to be the week that they finally do that, or are they going to play scared of Harrison Smith, kind of like they did at the end of the Fox era?
I was up in Green Bay for the Green Bay Minnesota game. It was alumni weekend for me, so I went up there and I saw that. I watched the Packers move the ball in the first 3 possessions like a hot knife through butter. And I'm like, oh, my God, they're going to kill the Minnesota Vikings. Then I saw the Vikings make a little bit of an adjustment, and they actually had more red zone trips or more trips in a positive territory for them to be able to do something than the Green Bay Packers had. So they actually, in the second, third, and fourth quarter, actually outplayed the Packers a little bit, but it didn't make a difference because they were multiplying by 3s and not by 7s. The Packer defense was good enough to stop them. The Packers' defense was good enough to force turnovers, and they ended up missing a field goal that day. So, you know, I watched that game, and, yeah, it was pretty 2 even teams going at it where the Packers were hot early and they held on to win on their home ground. So, listen, Minnesota's good. They got the Harrison Smith's a good safety. I get it. They're running the ball with a purpose now. And I don't know if you guys have checked out to see how many plays they've thrown and how many plays they've run. They're predominantly a run team now. It's like 60-40 run for them.
Right.
Now, the Bears' strength is the run. So the Bears are going to be able to defend them well. I think they're going to hold them to less than 16 points, let's say. Now, can your offense do enough to go ahead and make something happen for you? Say if the defense doesn't score a touchdown, or say they don't provide turnovers at the 10 or 11-yard line.
Right.
Now, you can have a turnover at the 50, and that really doesn't mean nothing because your offense has to do something with the football to move it into position to where you can go ahead and score. When you get the ball on the 10, you're going to kick at least 3 points. And you might score a touchdown because the defense is coming on the field looking at their offense going, what the hell did you guys just do to us? So, you know, that's the sudden change, the quick turn, where all of a sudden the Bears offense would have a big advantage going up against the Minnesota defense. But if you keep getting the ball like the way Denver was playing them, you got to go the long way. Mitch Trubisky can't drive this team over the course of time 90 yards. There's a very few quarterbacks in the league. If you take a look at the historic numbers on 90-yard drives plus of quarterbacks that have been able to do it, they still don't do it at a percentage. It's never a great percentage. So it's going to be a tough game. It's at home. That's the benefit. And, you know, hopefully the offense can do enough to help the defense out.
Oh, Case Keenum did it against the vaunted Bears defense the other night. 97 yards playing off cover. And it was in that moment that brings me to my question for you. And the turning of momentum in games. Were you in that moment saying, oh, here we go, now we got a game of it after they score? Or were you in what Booger was selling on television, this game's over already, or what have you? Where were you in regards to what transpired?
The Denver game's unique to itself because of the altitude.
Right.
So, once you start and then you can't catch your breath, and all of a sudden all guys are worried about is breathing and getting oxygen into their lungs. Same thing that happened in Miami last year, where all of a sudden the Bears defense was very humid in Miami. So, like, those heat games and those lack of oxygen games are a little bit different compared to, compared to a normal game. I knew when the Bears after Denver were going to come out and play in Washington, I knew they were going to be fine because they had their stressful game. They had the game that was causing them problems. That was already there. So when it happened last week, I was like, Team Hicks goes out of the game. I'm like, all right, guys, this one's not over yet. This one still needs to get done. You still need to find a way to finish this out. This is not exactly complete. That's where I was at. Mm-hmm. Let's make something happen. And then when they punched the ball out of Case Keenum's hands, I'm like, okay, there you go. Whew. The defense stepped up. We'll get the ball back to the offense. Everything's going to be hunky-dory and okay, so we'll be fine.
Jurko, you talk about the Bears' strength being against the run. One guy that I was a big fan of coming out of Florida State, and he still gets no credit on a national level and even within Chicago, a guy like Eddie Goldman. How underrated is this kid, and how important is he to this entire defense?
Well, to the run defense, it's imperative that you have a solid nose tackle that can take on two blocks, not get taken off the ball, and then when one blocker leaves, he can sit and help make a play for you. He also can rush the passer when he has to out of the base defense.
Yeah.
Nobody knows because the camera focuses on the football, and they don't focus on the guy in the middle that could be taking up one or two blockers and allowing Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan to be able to flow unencumbered to the ball. So nobody asks, how does that happen? Hey, how come they're so free? But the answer to that question is because the defensive lineman is doing their work. And, Eddie Goldman's got it tough. He's in the middle. He's getting it done. Now, fortunately for him, he's gotten paid. So at least the team has recognized him, and they've given him a little bit of a bonus where he can wet his beak a little bit. But it's impossible to see unless you're looking for it. It's also impossible to see from a sideline angle. If you get the end zone copy of the play where you're looking at just the 9-on-7 on the inside,
whenever
then
it comes,
you can see it as plain as day. You could see it as plain as day. The same reason Joel Steed was a stud, the same reason Ted Washington was a stud, the same reason that any nose tackle that went out there and took on a number of guys and made things happen, why they helped defense, Gilbert Brown. These guys took on two blockers and could still make a play, afterwards. That's how special they were.
How good is Roy Robertson Harris in your eyes?
I think he benefits at the fact that he just rushes the passer. And eventually he might develop into a starter. But remember Mark Anderson when he came off the corner in his rookie year, he had 12 sacks. He made him a starter the next year, and he wasn't quite as effective. There's a benefit to being able to come out on second and long and third and long when guys are tired, to be able to get in there and spell them and get after the quarterback. He's got an ability. There's no taking away from his ability. He's got it. He can rush the passer. So it's invaluable to have a guy that can come in and spell people when you absolutely have to have it. So the depth that you have on your team, that way you don't. Aaron Lynch is the same way. Aaron Lynch can come in, and Aaron Lynch can play. It's great to have depth. I don't know who the new kid is that stepped up and had a sack against Denver. Nick Williams.
Nick Williams.
Yeah, whoever the kid is. Yeah, Nick Williams. Him, too, has been able to come in and be effective. So the more depth you have, the more guys you could trust, the better off it is for you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having guys where you can rotate in. That way you can let Khalil Mack sit on the sideline and not have to call a timeout in Denver, which almost killed you. You want to be able to say, my guys are tired. Listen, 6 to 7 plays is the most any defense can go if they're busting their balls. If you're busting your ass, it's 6 to 7 plays. That's it. That's as many as you can call. You can go if you're working. If you're not working, you might be able to go 10 plays. if you're taking the Richard Dent 2 plays off, where you just kind of Cadillac it up the field and don't give a rat's ass about nothing, yeah, you can play a few more plays. But after 6-7, I'm getting the hell off the field. And I don't know how many times I did it. I produced a video a while ago where if your team's on the field for more than 8 plays, they're getting down to your red zone. So somebody better go down. Somebody better take a knee. Somebody better fall.
Hey, Jurko, everyone in the chat room, we've got dozens of people in the chat room, and they're all enthralled with your football knowledge and sharing what your thoughts on the Bears. But also, people want to know about some of the stories you've had in the NFL. And that begins with my buddy Mike North, who works at ESPN 1000 with Carmen DeFalco, doing the Odds Couple. And he and I were working together today, and he shared, we were in between doing commercials, and I was still rolling. And he shared this about you that I want to share with you.
Carmen told me that Jurko told him, I don't know if it was Cleveland or Green Bay. It might have been, I think it was Green Bay, because they just had a reunion. And he said, he looked around at the defense. He goes, I got some terrifying and sad news for you all. I'm the 3rd best player on the defense. He's funnier than hell.
So, Jurko, tell us about some of the stories that perhaps happened at Alumni Week. And then when we were at Bourbon and I met you, you shared a story about Brett Favre dumping Gatorade on somebody who was taking a shit. So you got to share some of these stories.
You're the crapper. You got your sweats on. You read the paper in the morning. You're 5 minutes from the morning meeting at 9. And then all of a sudden, a cooler full of water and Gatorade come up over the top. And now you got to get dressed. You got to get in there. You're scrambling to make the meeting. So Brett was always good for that up at Green Bay. But the team I was talking about was Cleveland.
Okay.
And, we had Spielman there, but Spielman ended up hurting his neck in the preseason, so he is gone. So I had Jameer Miller on my team. I had Corey Fuller was one of my corners that came from Minnesota. And then after that, I'm looking around the rest of the defense. I'm just kind of assessing it. I'm like, all right, Jameer's solid. Out of UCLA, played for Arizona. We're in good shape. Corey Fuller's in good shape. Then I look back and I see Marquez Pope. I see Dana Hall. I'm like, oh, boy, there's a reason San Francisco didn't want him. I look at the other corner, young corner, whose kid was it? McClendon, I think it was. McCutcheon. Lawrence McCutcheon's kid was playing for us at corner. Rookie player, was going to develop into be a pretty good corner in the NFL, but he was a rookie. I had Wally Rainier playing behind me. He was another rookie. Rabi Abdullah was outside of me. We had Derek Alexander to the left of me. He had a hip problem. You could notice it. He was a guy limping all over the poor field. The 3 technique, I looked at it. I'm like, oh, sweet mother of balls. Are we in trouble with the 3 technique? Roy Barker was more interested in playing strippers than he was in, remember him?
Yeah.
More interested in playing strippers than he was in playing football. I looked around and I said, I'm the 3rd best player on this defense. I go, we are blanked. I go, this is going to be no good. And we fought inside. Yeah, I know, but, listen.
He works for ESPN.
I looked and I said, boy, we got problems. And we fought and we battled. We just weren't good enough, 1 through 11, to be able to really compete. And ultimately, it showed at the end of the day. We always found a way to lose in the 3rd and 4th quarter. But we did win 2 games that year, which was a miracle. I ended up tearing my hamstring off my tendon against the Carolina Panthers at the end of November, and I had to go through 6 hours of surgery. So I was just like, all right, the hell with it. And then I started assessing everything that was going on. I trained to recover. I trained to play. I got all my flexibility back. I got all my strength back. And at the end of the day, it was just the Browns wanted to move on. And I was like, you know what you guys have to do? I know what I have to do. So they ended up releasing me injured, and I ended up filing for injury protection. I got paid for an 11th year. Then I went into radio and television, and it's been a tremendous success story ever since.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, you are one of these guys on the radio that you bring it 100%, just like you've been sharing here on the podcast, your honest opinion of the Chicago Bears. We can count on you doing that at ESPN 1000. I know the guys have a few more questions before we let you go. Is it okay if we keep you a little longer?
Yeah, give me one more question because I got bocce ball tonight.
You got it.
My game's coming up at the top of the hour up here at our bar in beautiful Northwest Indiana.
Okay. You remember this guy was outside your window, and this is when I said this guy Jurko is somebody we need to get on this fucking show. Well, Aldo, we wanted to fire John Fox so bad. I made a rap song about it that started to get some spins around the Twitter sphere and YouTube and what have you. And Aldo went out in front of you to get Tom Waddle and them to say something.
It was me and some little guy named Little Nicky. We were both outside.
Yeah. And you were the only freaking guy there saying, hey, they're trying to fucking start something. They actually see that you got to get rid of this freaking guy because he's a fucking shoe salesman instead of a football coach. And I'm like, this guy needs to be on the show, and you're here now. Do you remember Aldo holding the radio like the movie Say Anything?
Guys, you know how much stuff we see out there. I've seen a couple of ladies show their boobs, and they shouldn't have showed them because they were nothing to behold. I've saw somebody throw a brick at us. I've seen guys come by and flip us off all the time. And brick. I took a brick out of his thing and tried to break the windows.
Holy shit.
The window's 2 inches thick. It's beautiful glass. He was mad at ABC7, but he came over to us to throw the brick through the window. Doesn't make any sense. But me, I'm a fan of parodies, guys. I used to work with Danny Mac. Danny Mac was the king of the parody. If you've never heard his Freddie Lane to Penny Lane by the Beatles, it's something to behold. I mean, you might be able to find it on the internet, the interweb. It used to go, Freddie Lane has lost his ears and lost his eyes. Shot beneath the gorgeous Charlotte sky. Jim Mora needs a running back. Because he had signed with Indianapolis. So, I mean, if you ever get that parody song, you want to hear something special, get Danny Mac out and have him sing that parody song for you. It is something to behold.
Well, I make parody songs here. I will compete with anybody. Jurko.
All right.
I actually put it over there. Fans were
creme de la creme.
Fans were upset with your, what is his name? Adam Abdallah, whatever the frick his name is.
Phil.
Yeah, I know Adam Abdallah.
Stop, Phil. Phil's going to bring up old time grudges and stuff. You stop. Listen, Jurko, you have been very generous with your time. Your stories have got us enraptured. Tell people where they can follow you on Twitter and remind people where they can listen to you on, what time they can listen to you on ESPN 1000.
All right, guys. At Jurko64 on Twitter. That's JURKO64. We're on every day from 12 to 2:20, Carmen and I. We have a good time on the ESPN Radio 1000. We just got bought out. Good Karma Brands is taking over at the beginning of the month, so only the Lord knows what's going to be happening on the Carmen and Jurko show as we move forward.
All right, brother.
I have one favor, Aldo. I always cut you off.
No, that's fine.
Before you go, Jurko, can you do us one favor and say who you are, give us a station ID, and you're listening to Bears Barroom Radio Network?
Sure. Hey, it's John Jurko Jurkovic, and you're listening to Bears Barroom Network. On something.
That'll work. That'll work.
All right, guys, I got to go.
All right, have fun tonight.
All right, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.
That was awesome. This guy, he was keeping it 100. He wasn't sugarcoating anything. He told it like it is. And I got to tell you one thing. I was talking to Mike North about this new ownership over at ESPN 1000, and they're going to make some moves over there. They're, some people who we love to listen to on the radio, they may not be working it. I mean, if this new management is smart, Jurko will be working there for the next 10 years. But if they're not, then maybe Jurko will be sitting next to me here like Mike North does, and we'll have him on 100 proof as a regular. Wouldn't that be cool?
There you go.
Oh, man. Cars rain on 100 proof lasted half a show.
Sorry, Cars.
I mean, it's like the first marriage. It's fine. You learn a lot from the first one, and then you just
you too, huh?
Yeah.
Good for you. Cars, anything that Jurko shared with us that really stuck to your mind and you want to expound on?
No, I think his take on the offensive line has been, was the most telling for me, especially the Leno. I thought Leno, to me, had played pretty well. Not great, but had been pretty well. But that extension he got definitely did not line up with what we had seen. So him calling that out and him being probably one of the bigger disappointments, that was very telling for me.
I agree. I'm a little shocked, and I know that Draft Dr. Phil has been tough on Charles Leno, but Jurko seems to agree. Shayne, anything that you kind of picked up on what he said, he being Jurko, and you want to expound on?
Well, I was going to go where Cars went, but I want to ask you guys a question about that. With him essentially taking a big shit on the offensive line, which is completely well-deserved, does that make you guys feel any better about the quarterback position?
Well, that's what I was going to ask him, if he was going to take another football quiz. I wanted to hear what he had to say to that. To me, that would have been good. Yes, Shayne, because I think people don't get in a fucking team sport how important it is to be able to throw downfield without having to leave the pocket, in the pocket where, guys like Danny Clark are taking shots. Is that his name? Fucking Clark.
Kenny
Ryan.
Clark.
Whoever. Not Kenny Clark.
Ryan Clark.
Oh,
Ryan Clark's taking shots at him, comparing him to Jamarcus fucking Ruck. Come on. Come on.
Jamarcus Russell.
I know we
Ryan
have that
Leaf.
audio, but Ryan Leaf and that kind of stuff irritates me because the tape doesn't lie. He is not getting protected correctly. Guys aren't getting open based on the call. So if you're not protecting correctly and they're sitting on routes, then what's the quarterback to do? That's why I think it's important what Cars asked, what he was saying about opening up. You got to throw downfield. It's got to happen this week. 3-step game and run the 90 series. Get these guys through the seam, get them out. The one thing that I really took away from him, Aldo, was him mentioning Javon Wims for some reason. I wanted to cut.
Yes.
If he was going to give a little bit more time, I wanted to hear what he had to say, because I don't think it was a coincidence that name was brought up. It's in my notes tonight, especially with Cars coming on, about his size and the camp that he had. He took shots at training camp, preseason paradise, or however he put it, where they're not working hard. Same thing I was saying and have been saying, the historian on another network doesn't agree with. But here, my understanding is they're, too light of a preseason. Bubble wrapping these guys is not setting you up for success early in the season, or confidence-wise to build success. They're 2-1, Phil. Yeah, but it's ugly as sin, 2-1. You want it to be, we have something, an identity. On offense, we don't, and that's very clear.
And that's where I really agree with the Wims thing. He's your go up and get it guy. I love Anthony Miller. I expected big things, right? He's definitely been a disappointment. But Wims is your other big target, go up there and get it. And when you have a quarterback that's struggling with accuracy a little bit, with making those reads, he needs a guy that's a big body, a decent size catch radius. And that's what Wims provides you. And maybe we might be without Gabriel this week. Who knows with concussion protocol and how that's going to play. Wims is going to have to be that guy that steps up for us for that.
Totally with you on that. It would make a lot of sense to use some of these players who looked good at Bourbon A. What's the use of having training camp? And these guys are excelling. And there were multiple plays, and Greg Braggs could tell you, anyone who was there at Bourbon A for multiple occasions, that Javon Wims, when he was guarded by Kyle Fuller, all-pro Kyle Fuller, he was burning the shit out of him. And yet we're not seeing him utilized, and that's an issue. But I got to tell you one thing about, I agree, Phil, and with you guys, that yes, the offensive line is definitely impairing Mitch's play, but there's still issues with Mitch that are very, very
100%.
concerning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we're saying he's error-free, but I'm saying overall, come on, we obviously know that the offensive line is the engine that's going to make the entire offense go.
Yep. Just like the defensive line is with the defense.
Exactly, Aldo.
That throw, that interception the other night that Mitch made that's junior high school stuff. It horrible. Cannot happen. But at the same time, we know that he's not where we're expecting him to be. It's a huge issue, but this offensive line is just as guilty, if not more so, why this entire offensive side of the football is not moving forward, because I've seen Mitch still flash every single game. There's still flashes every game. He's not melting down. He's not throwing a pick. It's
not Ryan Leaf.
And then it's over.
I got that. I mean? If you want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If you want to play it. Yeah.
Sorry, Shayne. Here it comes.
No, it's good.
Oh, I should set it up by saying this is Ryan Clark of ESPN, former Pittsburgh Steeler, who is now an analyst over at ESPN. This was him talking about Mitch Trubisky.
Leaps like a Mahomes, and grading against him's dumb because he's historic.
Right.
But when you don't see him taking strides forward, at what point do you really begin to get concerned organizationally if that's where you're headed?
You're concerned this year. And the reason being is when you saw things last year, it was a lot of times he used his legs, but he didn't make the big plays from the passing game when he needed to. This year was supposed to be the steps. There's all the things in training camp about him throwing multiple interceptions at practice because Nagy tried to push it down the field. And now you see this season coming into this game, no touchdown passes, and it took 5 turnovers by your team to get points scored. If Mitchell Trubisky doesn't change, doesn't step up, we already know he's compared to the other 2 guys in Mahomes and Watson. He's going to start being compared to guys like Leaf and Jamarcus Russell as bust.
Wow.
I can comment on that. Fuck you, Ryan Clark.
Well, exactly. And
he had a narrative written.
Yes.
Exactly.
Throwing the interceptions in fucking practice.
This was supposed to, he's talking about Mitch coming into this game, no touchdowns. Well, he just threw 3, you asshole, in that game that you're talking about.
Exactly. In football, fucking Briggs has a short field, and so does Tom Brady. Those stats still count. I'm sorry.
But then he comes out and says, well, this was supposed to be the year. Well, asshole, we still have 13 games left. That's the part that gets me just so amped up. And Mitch 100% has to be better. Everybody knows that. Has to. But there's so many, from Matt Nagy has disappointed me. This offensive line has disappointed me.
The running game.
Yeah, the running game. And it to me, it starts with the offensive line and it filters. Offensive line is going to affect the quarterback. It's going to affect if you can't pass downfield, like Jurko said, then it's going to affect the running game because they're going to stack everything up front. But you can't
run block. You can't.
You're not seeing.
It all starts with the line. I fucking hate that it gets overlooked. It's so dumb. Why do the tape never lies?
Going back,
you got a fucking Halitech out there trying to tell me after the tape. Like, come on, guys. I'm going to fucking break it down. You can't argue with that. You can't block it. You can't run. You can't pass block it. You can't fucking throw.
But let me ask you a question. You're talking about the confidence and I do believe that. I believe that Nagy said, all right, fuck it. We're going to get out here, get him another touchdown, get that confidence level up. But when you really break it down, you're up 28-3. He's got 3 touchdowns. Is his confidence level going to rise that much more from 3 to 4 touchdowns?
But that's Andy Reid. Like, that's Andy Reid in Philly. That's what Andy used to do, right? Like, it's taken Andy a long time to figure out more balance. You always remember time management seems to be something that Nagy struggles with a little bit. That carries over. These are things that he's going to have to pick up in game.
But guys, excuse me for interrupting, but if you guys are asking for more reps for Mitch Trubisky in preseason, and now you're complaining that they called a pass play in the red zone, pass play that he should be hitting like automatic. This is something that he does at practice. I was at Bourbon Day. He threw it 50 times during one practice. Now he's got an opportunity to do it in a game. I don't give a fuck if the score is 0-0 or 28-3. It's a good play call, whether it's for his confidence or whether it's to fucking put your foot to their neck and fuck up the Redskins' confidence for the rest of the season. That was an okay play call, and we should not blame Nagy for that. There's plenty to blame him on, but not that call. Sorry, guys.
No, I don't disagree. Like that was you see folks run the fade. I'm going to take bigger issue with the fact that is the shittiest fade throw I've ever seen. And if you're talking about that he saw the back shoulder fade, you didn't even get it to the goal line.
I'm with you.
Like, that's the bigger problem. Look, we always have to look at it in the lens that Mitch has less college starts than any other quarterback in the NFL. You can look at the way that Parcells used to do this, right? He always wanted guys who had been minimum 3-year starters, minimum amount of games, all those things. And you see why. When you look at the guys that typically bust, it's those guys that have 1 to 2 years of college that like blow out all of a sudden. I'm not comparing Mitch, but it's like the Achilles Smiths, right? 1 year, all of a sudden, these guys have these massive years. They get drafted. They can't do it. Mitch makes throws. He gets in space. When he has to improvise, he is a great quarterback. He makes throws on the move. What we're trying to do is make him be a complete pocket passer. We're trying to make him read a full field. It's not where it's at right now, and that's because he just doesn't have the starting experience. We're accelerating the timeline because the Bears got Khalil Mack. That's it. If we didn't have Khalil Mack, there would not be as much of an emphasis that we are a Super Bowl contending team. We were going to be a playoff contending. We were building to that. That's jumped the timeline. And that's what's increased the stress on Mitch. And I say this to Shayne all the time. When you see Mitch in a press conference, it is like a deer in headlights, right? He's not speaking clearly. He's like rambling. Everything is jumbled. He's not confident enough in front of the media, and he's not confident yet enough in reading defenses. At least that's the way that I see it. So they've got to do everything. His story isn't written, except to me, he will never be a top 5 quarterback. But guess what? Aaron Rodgers has 1 Super Bowl win, and so does Brad Johnson, right? That part doesn't matter. He just has to be good enough.
I think
I'm not going to argue
real
there.
quick, just to go on what Matt was saying right there with the college starts, and this always gets lost when we're talking about Mitch. Totally get the college starts. Mitch also appeared in 31 games. Mitch almost threw just as many passes in college as Carson Wentz. They almost have identical numbers. So it is an issue. It's a big issue. It's not just experience. He's got a lot more experience. He doesn't have the game started to your point, but he's got a lot of it. He did have a lot more college experience than just what would they say, 13 college
14
starts.
College starts.
14 college starts. So it's just, but your point about Khalil Mack is a completely valid, great point that it boosted the window for Mitch to be what we were expecting him to be. I mean, you hear Matt Nagy say it took Alex Smith, what did he say, 5 years or whatever?
Yeah.
He mastered it. But
that's
thing
the
that
best
worries
comp
me,
for him. Yeah.
That's the thing that worries me, though, is you can have issues understanding the offense and going forward. You can't miss on fucking throws like that.
The Anthony Miller drop in the bucket one. There were several plays that he left out there that most quarterbacks don't miss. Completely.
Even to that, Anthony, I want to hold Anthony. Phil and I talked about this today too. Anthony
talked about it. Aldo talked about
fucking hands on that. You know what I mean? Lay out
and catch the ball.
One hand thing. You see Tariq Cohen do it so many times. And yes, maybe it's off just a little bit, but go. I think that there's a lot of lackadaisical play all the way around on this team on offense.
So one could argue, based on the offensive line issues, that the kid is trying and doing a hell of a lot better job. When I put in the first game where you lost to Green Bay, there's drops all over the fucking place, missed assignments, and this kid's balling out and being a tough kid to the point where I was like, I am surprised, Shayne. Should I go 18 minutes here to show the fucking story of how good this kid played more so? Then Denver, he didn't play as well. And then last week, he played better. And look at these I don't do numbers. So look at this text that I was sent. The last 2 quarterbacks to play against the Redskins. You ready? QB1, 25 of 31, 80.6% completion rating, 231 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception, 116.5 QB rating. QB number 2, 26 of 30, 86.7%, 260 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception, 123.5 QB rating. One is praised by the sports media for their performance. The other one is compared to the biggest draft busts in the last 25 years. If there isn't a narrative, if there isn't like neglect and vigilantism going on here in regards to Trubisky, trying to bury this kid's confidence. I don't know what it is.
That's because there's nothing else to truly complain about on the Bears, right? The Bears
we brought
to me
that
have
up 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's the only thing.
We have the best defense in the league at both creating turnovers and creating pressure, right? When you talk about Super Bowl contending teams, the one thing they want to hit us on is Mitch. And Mitch is going to have to change that narrative, and Matt's going to have to help him. I'll keep going to the fact that we're, get to me after the bye. Because once we get through Minnesota and once we get through Oakland, right, everything is going to be a completely different scenario. That's, to me, when rubber's going to have to meet the road and he's going to have to stress out. I'm in game, I'm going to freak out because I'm a horrible fan and I blow up at the biggest, the littlest thing, right?
We all do.
You too?
I have to hide.
Quick update, I lost another DirecTV controller on that interception by Mitch, by the way. True story.
I have to hide in the basement so my kids don't hear me scream. So I'm horrible in this. But if you pull back, I think that was a stepping stone game. He can build on this. It really matters, though, in 3 more weeks that there's increased performance.
All right, guys, you mentioned the Vikings, and I want to talk a little bit about those guys before we go to Shayne's tweets of the week. Danielle Hunter is probably the defender on the Minnesota Vikings that we should most fear because this guy is on a tear. The 24-year-old, 6'6" defensive lineman is just causing havoc on the defense for the Vikings. And he was asked, he being Matt Nagy, was asked about Hunter, and this is what the coach said.
His game is he's a guy that really has he has a full deck of cards in the fact that he can beat you with speed, he pursues relentlessly, he can beat you with power if he needs to. I've just been watching him over the years, and you see him. His game is just there's more and more things to his game, and so that he's growing. And you have to know where he's at all time. He's definitely one of the top rushing defensive players in this league for sure.
This is his 5th year in the league. So this guy came out, I think, when he was like 2 years old or something like that. And no, he's 24 now. This is his 5th year. So this guy, if he continues with good health, he could be one of the greatest defensive linemen in history. Plus, he's got that supporting cast, much like a guy like Khalil Mack has, where you got to worry about Everson Griffin. You got to worry about some of the other guys on that defensive line. And so it frees up Hunter for some one-on-one matchups. Matt Nagy has to, and Mitch Trubisky, they have to know where this guy is at all times. Wouldn't you say, Matt?
Yeah, he's definitely the biggest threat. I think what makes it even more so is Everson Griffin had a bad year last year, obviously had a bunch of issues, and he seems to be back to almost 2 years ago form. So that makes Hunter even more dangerous because you have to be more particular in how you block him, how you double him, because we've seen Leno right now kind of struggle. You're going to have to put some extra help on the other side for Griffin as well. But Hunter is he's an insane freak athletically. What he can do and the way that he can wreck a game plan is pretty incredible. And I'd say their linebacker core to me has taken a step back. Their defensive backs outside of their safeties have taken a step back. But he is so good, he makes them look better as an overall unit. So you just gotta you're gonna have to double team and trip and kind of treat him to a lesser extent like Khalil Mack.
Yep. Shayne, thoughts on Danielle Hunt?
No, I totally agree. He's a guy that we do have to prepare for, but it's just we've talked about this for years on here. I've just never been in big. This is a playoff type game for Chicago in my world. Phil and I talked about this a little bit today off air, and that's the way that it needs to be approached. And in those big moments, first off, I'm not a believer in their quarterback, but I'm not a believer in the Minnesota Vikings at all. You want to go back to last year. What bigger moment was there for the Minnesota Vikings? Win and you're in. And they fucking laid down against Chicago. That's why I think it's imperative for these guys to come out. You can't let Hunter be a one-man wrecking crew and take the fucking game over and get in Mitch's head And who knows, hopefully Massey's ready to roll and Leno can pull his head out of his ass. Because if a guy's going to be getting to the quarterback, we all know, we witness it here in Chicago. It can change fucking games. And Hunter
one play.
Yeah, one play. Yep. It can wreck it. But Minnesota is the type of team, and their quarterback fucking, and I know Cars and I talked about it today, but Zimmer taking his little pot shot at Trubisky today in the media.
Mike Zimmer, to be clear.
Yeah. I didn't say Zimmerman, did I?
It's almost sound like you were going.
Oh no, Mike.
I wanted to be.
No, not that Zimmer.
You gave him a hard on. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. But Chicago's got to come out, and I think they got to strike quick. You talk about attacking them deep. I think you got to come out and you got to punch them in the fucking mouth and attack early, because then it becomes a mental game with Minnesota. I wanted nothing more than. I didn't want Chicago to lose in Minnesota, but I wanted fucking Minnesota in the playoffs because I believed so much that Chicago was in their head, and they were never, I didn't really want to face Philly. I talked to you guys about that last year. Mm-hmm. To me, Minnesota is a mentally weak team. You can't let Hunter dictate and be a game changer. Come out swinging early. And to me, that's a big thing with Mitch. I think they just let the fucking guy let it rip. Maybe it's Mitch holding himself back, but to me, it looks a lot like Matt Nagy doesn't trust him to do that. And take the fucking shackles off. You got the elite defense backing you up, and you have running backs if the offensive line can play better to get you there. I'm ready for it to be opened up.
Phil?
Yeah, I think this game is imperative for the offensive line to be able to get after it. And we're going to know the very first play has always told me the story. These guys are ready to rock and roll. Now with Nagy, they might be running fucking jet sweep, toss, reverse. So we won't know on the first play with that kind of shit. But this guy, in one play, he could take the game over. Coming out, he went late in the draft. He was somebody I had my eye on because he was young, and he was like 6'6", and he was if I'm wrong, my brain, he was at the other end at South Carolina with what's his name, Mr. Everything, who went first overall. Yeah, Javon with Clowney. He was the opposite defensive end, and I'm like, you know what, this kid fucking plays with more heart than the guy with all the talent. And here he is now, and they found themselves a gem. So he's somebody that you have to be aware of. And in a pillow fight, maybe Leno wins, but it's not. This game isn't played like that. And that you heard Jurkovic talk about it, and he mentioned the woman in his head. I know people have joked with me. Have you seen Mitch's girlfriend? He's got a girlfriend now. Could that be? She's hot as hell. Could that be why? And it's not out of the realms of possibilities. Jurko hit on exactly what I wanted to hear about Leno. And that's something I'm concerned with that offensive tackle. I told Shayne, if he wanted to share it on 100 Proof, it was fine. I go, am I bad or wrong that I wanted Leno to have vertigo? It's not a bad thing.
You're bad.
Well, keep it at 100, Aldo. I did say that in my head because I just think Massey, to Carr's point, I would have never have believed that. In fact, Aldo pointed that out to us against Denver. You, Phil, you, Shayne, wanted Massey out of here.
That's
and
right.
Look at him. He's your best guy now. Well, I think he's your second best. White hair is the best.
Without a doubt. I mean, I posted a video up on Twitter, Phil, where white hair on that screen pass to Rico and just takes the defensive lineman and just tosses him to the ground. It was beautiful.
Are you out of the subject there? I wanted to ask him this, too, of moving Daniels back to guard. I know what Aldo thinks about that. So I want to hear what Shayne and Cars think, because I'm of the opinion, after watching 3 games, and I don't want to sway you, Aldo's no. Just keep him there. Should have, that. I'm like, I think he might have to go back to center because what was working, even if Daniels might not be ready. He's not ready at center.
Got to give it time.
Yeah, you have to.
That's his best position. I think that's his best position. I think long term it's better for the team. It's hard because we do have, again, there's all this pressure to be a Super Bowl contending team.
But
give it until after the bye.
You always go there.
You got to give it till after the bye, in my opinion.
I agree with Cars. After the bye after that, it's a perfect time to start making a serious evaluation. Let me tell you this, Phil. When you look at the tape, when it finally arrives for the fucking money that we're paying for,
finally arrived tonight, apparently, while we were. I'm fuck, I'm on a show. I can't.
Study Daniels and Cars and Shayne. You guys can comment on this too, because I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about Daniels. But from a technique standpoint, when I look at Daniels, he's doing everything right. It's just that he's thinking too much. There's a poor communication between him and especially the right guard. What's his name again? Kyle Long. That's, I think, the biggest issue that Daniels is going through right now. But from a technique standpoint, he's doing all the right things. His stance is right. He's got leverage and so forth. But it's like he's a step late to get over here because there wasn't good communication and stuff. Something is wrong, but it's not technique, in my opinion. So you guys comment on that either now or after you looked at tape.
No, so far from what I'm seeing, I don't think you're wrong. We got to remember he's a 21-year-old kid that's only going to get better.
That's right.
Right? To me, I think Phil even said, he was one of the best center prospects. To me, I thought he was the best center prospect when he came out. He's athletic. He's everything you want in that position. He's just now calling line plays. This is all new. It goes back to the no preseason. It comes back to a whole lot of things. He's now seeing things for the first time from the center position. It can only go up. You remember Whitehair had some struggles out there that first time, and they did things to get him more physical. They focus more on the run game. Our lack of focus on this run game is what's causing, to me, isn't allowing the offensive line to get kind of some steady performance. They're just like, oh, that didn't work. We're going to go throw 5-yard passes for the next 47 plays.
Jesus Christ. There's another thing I want to say off of that comment right there. And Isaiah Robles from Bears Turf, Barfly, loves us. Zeke, yes. He sent me a great text. And I said, you know what? You're fucking thinking exactly, and you reminded me of it. And he said, you remember when Coach Nagy was in the locker room in preseason and Jarrett Payton's over there in the back and Montgomery had a great run that night and everything, and he compared with bright eyes, a glow, Adam Johns wrote. He could be the next great one here, staring into the eyes of Jarrett Payton. And yet, we're having a hard time keeping him on the field after big plays.
Well, he also said after week 1 that there was a lot more to just running with the football that David Montgomery needed to work on. So I didn't know if it was a playbook issue, his blocking assignments, whatever. Yeah. Nagy made that comment himself. So, and who knows is he not doing what he's supposed to be doing in the classroom? I mean, that's the thing that we forget about.
One of the hardest working kids you'll ever see. So I don't get it.
That. But your head is Matt Nagy going to go out publicly and say that publicly?
I didn't see it said, but I believe you.
It was when he was getting grilled after week 1 about not running the ball.
The next week against Denver, he ran the ball. And then this week, listen, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's not even fucking close. It's like the long bus versus the fucking short bus.
Yes.
It's like David Montgomery should be on the field at all times. He's elite.
He was though, at least last week. Mm-hmm. Part of the thing that I kind of talked about is I wanted to see them use him as a 3-down back. It makes he's our best playmaker right now. I love Allen Robinson, but hands down, he's got to be in the play. That finally happened. Now, maybe it's because of Mike Davis and what was going on with his dad, but they finally took that step. I'm repeating myself annoyingly, but that's, again, why I keep looking at after the bye. This is building. They're figuring everything out. They're figuring parts. Matt wasn't swapping out players as much last week, right? He was going with the same people, just different formations. Everything was crisper other than a lot of the execution. That's what they're building for. And I just keep going back, like, after the bye, they're going to be a different team, and we're going to all laugh at this moment like, oh, we freaked out for nothing. But it's got to show this week a little bit more than it did last week.
After the Giants game last year, I watched that all 22, and it was the most pathetic piece of shit offensive line performance I've ever seen in NFL my time having the all 22, ever. And then the next week, they played the Rams, I believe, Aldo, and they absolutely were a different team on tape. So it's not like we have to wait until after the bye. This motivating heart. What's in Leno's fucking pumping heart? What's in James Daniels' heart? You got to stop. To what Aldo's saying, if it's true, and he's thinking too much, then fucking chop it down and get this running game going against this team, because I believe the Bears are better than this team. And I believe, to your point, Cars, and Jurkovic, they got to go downfield. But at first, they got to run the fucking ball against them and take Hunter and fucking move his ass out of there and pound him with this fucking jitterbug at 225 pounds.
Right.
He's so fucking big. I don't think people appreciate it because he doesn't have distant speed like other backs. But what he does in short area quickness and make people miss is an elite talent. It gets me out of my chair every time he touches the ball. It's not blocked right, and he's making 3 guys miss to get 4 yards. And it's like, oh, he got 4 yards. And it's frustrating because I hate the use of Tariq Cohen, how they're using him. I don't like the Patterson usage.
No.
And starting the football game off with your receiver at running, like, come on.
Hey, at least we saw some slants and some shallow crosses. That got me more excited than anything.
The slant is Mitch's best throw. That is what he throws the most confidently. It's what he throws the most accurately.
And he's got perfect wide receivers for it, and Wims and Robinson and Riley Ridley can't even fucking press.
Wims would be fucking the talk of the town. Talk of the town, just running a fucking slant, and he's such a great radius, and he's a tough, I want the ball catcher that I was talking about, Aldo, after last call. None of our tight ends are that.
Do we have any tight ends, actually?
I thought Adam Shaheen got killed the other night. Oh, my God.
Yeah, you texted me, rest in peace, Adam Shaheen. And I was like,
oh, man.
I just assumed he was out for the game after he got tackled.
I think he might have been for a split second, because after he
tap out.
He went down. He just went. I mean, there was nothing. Oh man, he
caught the ball there though.
He did.
I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe he went back in. I compared it to Apollo versus Drago.
Got me.
Before I talk about the Vikings offense, I want to ask you this question. I brought it up on the Mike North show, the Vegas scores and odds advantage. Do you think that Mitch Trubisky should be running the ball a little bit more often? He ran 3 times in game 1 of this season. He ran once against Denver and once against Washington. It seems to me that part of the weaponry that Mitch Trubisky possesses is rolling out and throwing. That's where he's his most accurate. And his second thing is actually running with the football. And it seems to me like they're not calling those plays for Mitch when they should, because it could help open things up for him during his regular drop back passes. What do you guys think?
Well, I think if you're not going to throw they're fucking stacking the deck against you, like Jurko said.
Yes.
You're not attacking deep. So if you're going to start calling design runs for your quarterback, you're going to get the fucker killed because everybody's right there. I mean, a running court, you can put a ton of stress on a defense. I mean, it can one fucking quarterback run. You give them one threat of that where he bounces it even, 18 yards. That's in their head, that little seed of doubt. But that's the same thing. That's why it's so important to try and stretch the defense. But we're not seeing any of that.
I think Aldo's right here. I think you can form an ability, and they did it with the stretch boot, and then get around and get him out of the pocket with that backside, and being free to bite down. Then they did run one fucking read option, absolutely, and he pulled it. He got 9 or 7 or 8 yards. It was close to a first down. The guy, it needs to be called every fucking play because you want to get those guys back on their heels. Let's attack everybody. We're going to go into the Phil's virtual chalkboard again. You put the tight end on the right, and we're going to run read game, but the tight end's going to double down on whoever's head up on Bobby Massey or Lucas. So we're going right. Okay? That end is now free. He has a choice. Mitch is going to just dart his head in the shotgun, which they always are, and he's going to put the ball in the belly of the back. They're going to ride the mesh together, it's called. So he's going to keep the ball in his belly, and they're going to ride down. All the while, Mitch is staring at that free man that didn't get blocked by the tight end, hopefully blocking down. That free man comes down to tackle the running back. What does Mitch do? He pulls the ball out of his belly and runs around that guy. Now you got a pitch man in motion with you coming over the top. So now you're onto the next level. You want to fucking stack? Come up, corner, and tackle Mitch because it's one-on-one now, and he's got a pitch. The safety's now put on the island. Is he going to attack the alley? Or is the corner going to play the alley? And that's how you get these guys out of their fucking comfort zone of squatting. You start running option right at their ass and say, we're going to run our quarterback because that's what he does well. And you know what? He gets up and gets 15 yards against the fucking Tampa Bay Bucks, and the offense is stuck. No huddle. The defense is on their heel. No huddle. Seam routes. Fades. Now everything starts to open up. So Aldo, it's like you're in my notes. I'm like, get that read game going. He's comfortable with it. He did it in college. He's done it on the pro level. This guy fucking Bill Belichick, friend of mine, scouts for the Patriots. Bill Belichick spent all week to stop Mitch. Keep him in the pocket. The best coach in the league. Keep him in the pocket. You know what Belichick said? I texted him literally last week. What did Belichick say about Mitch after you guys played? That fucking kid's going to be great. That's what he said. They couldn't stop him. So what is the job now? The coach. Where did this team go? It's the same offensive line, same receivers, and you got a better back. The coach. You got to go. You got to do what Mitch does. If it's win now, baby, go after it. Let him run. It'll open up the pass. You got the perfect weaponry. Look, I told Cars, you don't like Cohen at slot? Fine. Move him around, but put him on the field with Montgomery. Now there's mismatches everywhere. Because those two together, Wims, Robinson, fucking the Trey Burton and Montgomery and Cohen, that would be my offense right there. Because Wims, I believe, is a guy that would have fucking laid out Shayne. Like Anthony Miller didn't. He's a guy that wants the fucking ball. Did you see the fourth?
At 6'3", he might not have needed to lay out. But honestly,
exactly. To Carr's point, the radius, the size. Even though the Smurf came up big, Taylor Gabriel. But I think the run has to be there. I think that's where you're going to get the deep balls, and I really believe in this kid's Mitch's talent, his athleticism. This isn't Ryan Leaf. That's fucking borderline fucking psychopath right there.
I would just take rolling out. Like we've been asking for quarterbacks to roll out since the Cutler era, right? Like that's where they've been the best. The way you want to, if you don't want to run him, you know what the best way to slow down a pass rush is to roll the quarterback out so they don't know that he's in the pocket every down.
Right.
Right? Like, they know where he's at. They know every time he's going to take you RPO in the shotgun. He's going to be 5 to 7 yards away from center. Go. Guess what? Move him. Move him 2 yards to the left. Move him 2 yards to the right. Make them think that he's not going to be in the pocket, and even that's going to slow down the rush a little bit.
I totally agree. His feet are a weapon. Do you not use a good weapon? I mean, it's the most frustrating
in
thing.
Chicago, it happens all the time.
It's like it's mind-boggling that. Listen, when Jurko was on, let's make this guy a pocket passer. That shit don't work. Let's do what he does. Not my offense. Let's do what Mitch does within my offense best. So these 42 plays that you designed that Tyler Bray runs great, fucking delete them. Because that don't fucking matter. Because Tyler Bray is a piece of shit that you're developing. You should get another kid, but that's another story, as Shayne would say. I digress.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the Vikings offense and the test that the Bears have ahead of them. When we talk now about the Vikings offense, it's no longer about Stefon Diggs and Adam Thielen. It's about Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison. Those guys have replaced those two outstanding wide receivers as being the core of this team. The Vikings right now are averaging 194 yards per game rushing. Cook, who's in his third year in the league, has 375 yards rushing, 6.6 yards carry. He is tied for second in the NFL with 4 touchdowns. He was available when I was picking in fantasy, but that's a different story. And then Alexander Mattison has added 132 yards and a touchdown. So Nagy was asked about Dalvin Cook at the press conference on Wednesday, and this is what he said.
Well, they're persistent with it. It's something that they're going to do regardless, and they're good at it. You know, he's a guy that fits that mold, that zone type runner that can see the vision of being able to hit the wide zone, the inside zone, and then cut it back. So if your pursuit's not there, you're in trouble. He's got speed. He can do things out of the backfield with his hands. They're using them really well. So, and then they have some nice packages, and their offensive line is playing well too. They're blocking a lot of different fronts, and they're penetrating the other side of the line of scrimmage, and there's no penetration on your side of the line of scrimmage. So they're doing well with the run game.
Cars, what do you think about what Nagy said there?
Yeah, it's more dedicated focus, right? Like Dennison has come in, and it's what he's known for. They're going to run the ball, and when it stops working, guess what? They're going to run the ball again, right? That's just what it is. That's your threat. I mean, we can all make fun of Cousins all day, and it's just too easy right now. There's going to be a play. He's going to break something, right? He's going to break 1 or 2. It's just how he is. You have to limit how much of that break happens. That means your safeties are going to have to tackle. I think we've got the inside linebackers better than any of the other teams that he's faced, you know, right, to keep him under control. But I'm not selling out to stop Diggs. Diggs looks so disenfranchised with this offense right now. If we remember the Monday night game when Thielen was kind of yelling at Cousins, he looks completely disenfranchised.
There's some rumors that Diggs privately is requesting a trade.
On Buffon 55, we asked Arif Hassan, who writes for The Athletic, about that, and he said that was more speculation from a radio station, but that he could see Stefon Diggs getting to the point where he might want to go to a team that appreciates the passing game a little more. Please, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, and so that's where it's going to be. You know, like if you stop Dalvin, and we all know that Cousins is going to make mistakes, he's going to get hit. The offensive line is not pass blocking very well. He's still getting hit. He's still under a lot of pressure. If you take away the run, it's just going to be a tee-off time. It's exactly kind of that same game plan we should have run against the Washington Redskins. I'd love to see our corners more aggressive this week and press them and actually hit them at the line. But you take away the run game, there's not another dimension for them to go right now. That's how bad, to me, Kirk Cousins is playing.
You are listening to Bears Barroom Radio.
Man, Cars hit that ID perfectly. Good job, man.
That's right.
Thanks. I've been working on that all week. Yeah.
Did you squeeze your balls when you read that for us?
One of the kids probably just stepped on them. That's what happened.
Very good. Very good. Phil, any thoughts on this running game? And do you think that if Akeem Hicks does not play Sunday afternoon against the Minnesota Vikings, do you think that's going to have a huge impact on stopping that run?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose that kind of caliber football player at the 5 tech, and you can also slide inside, also played some edge on reps you've seen him. That's how talented and athletic, then you are going to be less off. Now, is that an end-all, be-all? No, and it's not an excuse. I think he'll be out there, but to your point, that will be, next man up is, I believe, Nick Williams, because Roy Robb is in for, our other guy, my boy, Bilal Nichols. He's
broken hand.
Been hurt with the broken hand. Does he get it casted and clubbed? I don't know what the update is, if they asked about him, but
he was out today.
He was out today. I doubt we will see him against Minnesota Vikings. I'm pretty sure you'll see Abdullah Anderson dressed for that game.
Right.
I'm not going to be surprised with Bilal if it's one of those deals where you're looking at after the bye week.
Yep.
You guys love that fucking bye week. I'll tell you that. You love that bye. But
I'm getting that tattooed. After the bye week, it's going to get tattooed somewhere on me.
We should do a show called After the Bye Week.
Bye week.
We'll have Aguirre host it after the bye week.
We'll drink White Claws after that. And we'll kind of
White Claw. What is this White Claw?
I don't know. They said Greg Braggs drinks that shit constantly.
Really? Greg, what happened to you? You've gone over to the feminine side.
White Claw, yeah. He's like it's like
sound
effects. Something Greg said. It's fucking weird.
It's the Zima replacement is basically what it is. So, he's going to do a combination Pampers and White Claw commercial is the rumor I'm hearing.
Greg has his Zima fucking tank top that he wears too. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Listen, I don't know how this is 100 proof. So, have you guys ever gotten deli cheese and it's fucking sliced so thin that you fucking can't take it out? It becomes, I literally said, I got to talk to these guys. I'm fucking trying to make some cheeseburgers. I can't fucking peel the deli cheese. It's like it's all together. So now I'm getting fucking pissed off. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking figure this out. And it's pulling the cheese. It's all breaking up. Has this ever happened to you guys? Or is this just a me thing?
Can I first say that this is such a first world issue that I can't believe we're even discussing this? Literally, we're like, I can't peel apart my deli cheese.
I didn't even know what the fuck it was. So proving to you that I'm Puerto Rican.
So Bragg's just verified in the chat room that he does support White Claw. So I guess we're good to go.
Oh, God.
I just felt such a relief.
Oh, good for you, Phil. All right. I think we should turn our attention to that part of the show that everybody just loves to talk about on Thursday mornings. They talk about, man, Shayne did not pick me for Tweet of the Week.
Zimmerman's not a winner again, so you can put me on mute, Zimmerman.
I heard that Zim is a little bit depressed about something. What's going on with Zim? Is anything that we need to address here before I go?
He was very upset about the Kyle Long picture.
He was expecting it to be long.
Yeah, he was very disappointed. He said I know he's got a lot of love for Kyle Long, and he's a little disappointed with what Kyle was packing. So we'll get him through it.
All right. So I killed enough time to get my cues set up here. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Oh Yeah. I thought I was going to have to kill Gandia for a second there. Yeah.
Oh, my Andrew Dice Clay didn't work there, so sorry.
You an old girl from Nantucket.
Eating her curds and whey.
Oh, fuck you, Andrew Dice Clay. You ruined it. Let me start this over.
That was great, actually.
All right, Phil, take it away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You guys will never guess who could wear some clown shoes, yeah.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah, that's how this works, you dickhead.
I didn't say anything because I thought he was doing it.
No, fuck that.
Once knew a girl from Nantucket. She knew Tariq Cohen went live on Facebook, and she said, well, fuck it. He's the smartest man. And this is the dumbest tweet of the week.
It's right. It's the dumbest tweet of the week. That's how we start this segment of the show. Shayne scours the internet looking for smart tweets, dumb tweets, and we always start with the dumb tweet, and we've heard enough of that music. Shayne, take it away.
Well, we have a newcomer to this game, Aldo, for the dumbest tweets of the week. And this is Shayne L. Marsaw at Wasram of Bears Barroom.
I know
I'm
him.
not sure if you guys have heard of him.
I hate that pretentious dick.
That fucking Dodger-loving, Canadian-loving.
During the Giants and Bucks game the other day, this asshole sends out a tweet that says, Twitter is fawning all over Daniel Jones while the Bucks are marching straight down the field to win this game. And then about 35 seconds later, the Bucks shanked the winning field goal. My Twitter feed blew up where everybody's saying, yeah, how'd you like that? Smartest man? Yeah, whatever. Fucking 86 notifications later. So I totally fucked myself over by a little premature ejaculation there.
Bonehead of the day, another day closer to being dead.
Congratulations, Shayne.
Bravo.
So, got to go off a little bit here. This isn't really a tweet, and it's a little blurb on our quarterback, and it was sent out by, I believe it was SI.com, and this was the breakdown for Mitch, the throw that he had to Taylor Gabriel in the end zone that they reviewed. Trubisky threw a pair of short touchdowns to Taylor Gabriel before hitting Gabriel again for an acrobatic 36-yard score where Gabriel had to adjust to a very poorly placed football to beat Josh Norman for the score.
That just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit. Fuck. Oh, my.
Did you guys watch that and think that was a poorly placed football?
That was the best thrown pass of the week.
Of his career. That's the best pass of his career, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I love the throw to freaking Allen Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
Against the Eagles.
Yeah,
that was a huge throw.
That game.
Matt, you were going to say something?
Lie.
You were going to say something about that throw, Matt?
No, I mean, like that when we keep going back to Mitch, right? It's on the move. That's the type of throw that he can make. Not every quarterback can make that type of throw. That's what always has to give you hope. You know, it's easy to get down, but that throw, I mean, that's one that I could watch time and time again. And I've given Gabriel a lot of crap for body control, and that was a fantastic use of it. But, God, that throw, 1 foot mid-air across his body type of throw, and the accuracy on that shows you the arm talent that everybody saw. It was incredible.
Very nice. You got any more there, Shayne?
Oh, I sure do.
Oh, nice.
Now we're rolling here. Now we're gonna get back into these assholes that are here every week. Peter Bukowski at Peter_Bukowski. Honest question: is Mitch Trubisky even the third best quarterback on FedEx Field tonight? Like, are we sure he's even better than Colt McCoy?
Oh my God!
Yeah, you must have been at the top of your fucking class.
that Jurko or Tony Soprano?
Whoever it is, I think he's related to Jurko.
And then the next one here is from a guy called Peter Bukowski at Peter_Bukowski. What is there to be salty about? I was completely right about Adrian Amos being better than Clinton Dix, and that was proven in week 1.
But okay.
Oh, you got any more from Bukowski? Because this guy is a gold mine.
Buy me a couple of seconds here while I go through my coughing spree. Hold on.
Go do your coughing. I will.
Man, I feel like I'm at a junior high dance right now.
All right, I'm back.
This is Boys to Men.
Throwing those daggers, aren't you, Phil?
Could you come over and rub my chachi?
Rub my chachi. An oldie but a goodie.
Frankie's in the chat room, so I play that for him.
There you go, Chachi.
What up, Chachi? Haven't heard from you.
Yeah, he's been MIA lately, but he's back.
So our next one is from a gentleman called Peter Bukowski at Peter_Bukowski.
You don't say.
Hey, if interceptions against Case Keenum are what you want, then Clinton Dix is your guy. He's a complete non-factor against the 2 other teams that they played, but hey, great. He got interceptions.
Idiots.
He really is.
God.
That's the nicest thing we've said about him on the show, calling him an idiot. He's just such a freaking troll. Right, exactly.
How do you have so much fraudulent venom? First of all, go back in time. Go back. Like Blackstreet, back in time. Aldo.
Yep.
You invited him on the show.
I did.
He decided to not answer the phone 15 times.
Something like that.
We invited him on the show again. He threw Twitter out into the public to get him to come on. He bounced on that.
The second time was more my fault because he gave me like I might be able to make that. I'm like, dude, give me a fucking affirmative answer, and he never responded to it, and that was the issue with that. But nonetheless,
he knew he was stepping into a hornet's nest where he was going to get destroyed.
As a football publisher or paper, have someone so fraudulent. Not only are you speaking out of tune or singing. If this guy is on that short bus that we talked about.
I honestly think it's something that's going around, Phil, because, and I guess this would fit in perfectly here. Sam Monson at PFF_Sam sent out a tweet tonight. It says, this is a tally that I'm keeping of NFL fan bases that I've pissed off this year. And he's got a list of every NFL team with little ones by him, and he says the Chicago Bears are lapping the field.
Yeah, there's a lot of that shit going on.
Exactly.
But you know what I mean? So they're instigating the fan base, trying to get them go. But I mean, it's such a fucking ridiculous look for one of the head guys over at Pro Football Focus to be tweeting something like that out.
That's my point too. Is that you're gonna find trolls but when you're representing an organization like Pro Football Focus or wherever the fuck Peter Bukowski works, you shouldn't do that. Unless your management likes that, and that just speaks poorly for the management there. So fuck them.
I wish we had some gospel music right there, like just man.
I could put that in post if you want.
It's so good that you said that. It's like, come on, like have some dignity and pride and speak football truth. You have enough fans misled by shit like that. So if you were to say in a football game versus whatever team being in the NFL, whatever, fill it in the blank, the Miami Dolphins, those stats count for Tom Brady's career. If Tom Brady goes,
Jesus.
Exactly. And if he went out there and shit the bed, it would be, well, it's Tom Brady. And you can't post or pin up or whatever this guy's doing in regards to your anger or angst towards a former player and then use that as a measuring stick to that's a fucking pick six, a great effort play. If you watch, the fucking Redskin offensive lineman takes a fucking shot at him in the end zone. It is I was like, holy shit, he took a fucking shot.
Sheriff, yeah.
Yeah, he fucking got right up. He's celebrating. This is a fucking dynamic football player, and I never would have said this, and I can't remember who said it, but you look at these two, and I'm talking about Eddie and HaHa, and they almost look alike.
They do.
I'm like, holy fuck. This guy, Eddie, he's very football smart. He's something instinctively special. And HaHa has that similar instinct. I wouldn't say as great an instinct. We were going to measure something like that. I would say he's an A- to an A, which is tremendous. And he's fucking physical as hell. And I think our boy, 39, has never looked more physical. And I think it has a lot to do with number 21 over there setting the tone.
Eddie had a couple of huge hits in Denver.
Oh, my God. He saved a big first down by fucking driving on the ball through the man. I thought he could have picked one while he was hitting.
Yeah, he got benched in Alabama by Saban for lack of, physicality.
He saw that against the Dolphins. Yeah. He was like, oh, my God, I fucking crucified him on the tape, never lies. I was like, Shayne, did you fucking see that play? He just gave up on Wilson's 88-yard fucking bubble screen.
Screen. Yeah.
My God. But Bukowski's a dick.
Yeah.
Clean up your mouth, all right?
Every time I see his tweets, I have to wonder if it's him or Wiederer at first with how negative they are about the Bears.
Yeah.
But you would think that the Bears
Good
with how
answer.
much he talks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a complete troll job, 100%. And Aldo,
yes, sir.
Those are my dumbest tweets of the week.
Well, and that was an excellent selection. I know it's rough for you every week because there's thousands of them out there, and I know how nauseating it can be going through all of those tweets. So that's why you smartly also pick good tweets.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Phil, let's not fuck this one up,
He's the smartest man. He never backs down from a fight. He ain't no cunt-ass mother. He'll speak the truth. He'll never rely, ever, on his little fucking brother. He's the smartest man, and this is his best tweet of the week.
Wow. Man, that was kind of a surreal rendition there, Phil, but I give it credit. I give it a thumbs up. Shayne, what do you got?
So we have a late edition here. This was sent to me through Facebook Messenger right while we were going on. So I want to throw a little bit of love here.
Producer. Who gave you that?
What's that?
Who gave you the Facebook message?
Oh, let me look that up real quick.
They deserve an associate producer title.
John Tyke. T-Y-K.
Johnny Tyke. I like that dude.
John is in the chat room right now, but take a bow, John.
So John, this is John's moment here.
Nice.
Now let me find it again. Okay.
Sorry.
Damn that technology.
Yeah. The tweet itself is from Pace Goat at Trubisky G. And he broke it down this way. Week 1, Philadelphia beats Washington by 5. Media talks about the great performance from Carson Wentz and Deshaun Jackson. Week 2, Dallas beats Washington by 10. Dak cements himself as an elite quarterback, and he's going to get paid. Week 3, Washington gets star defensive lineman Jonathan Allen, and tight end Marsaw back. Was it tight end Marsaw? Or Marsaw back, anyway.
Defensive end, Marsaw.
Yeah, not tight end. I was thinking of Fabian Marsaw. But, Washington gets star defensive lineman Jonathan Allen and Marsaw back. Chicago wins by 16. Chicago Bears are a bad football team.
Well done, John.
I love you.
Yeah.
We have a clear winner this week. I shared earlier with Phil earlier in the day what it was, and Kevin Fishbane at K Fishbane sent out a tweet. Fun fact: the Bears have the same number of offensive touchdowns this season, 4, as they had through the first 3 games in 2018.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So enough doom and gloom. Hey, we didn't get preseason. We're getting our preseason now. It's, meaningful reps, unfortunately right now. And then they're working out the kinks to Carr's point. But I still do. I think there's a ton of upside with this offense. It's just a, slower projection or trajectory than we expected. But let's hop on this fucking train and go smash some Vikings.
Good tweet.
It was very nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Greg is so observant about the tweets and the drops and stuff. He's very nice.
I'm doing good. I'm happy.
Greg brags. Have you listened to the latest? He's
always happy.
Have you listened to the latest Shy Fans in the Stand show?
I did. I thought it was great.
These guys are bringing it. Greg Braggs and Joey Two Scoops. Excellent work. That fantasy show, we need to work on that one a little.
I wish Braggs would invite me on Shy Fans. Fucker never invites me on.
I wonder why. You know what? Matt's been asking the same question, too. Matt's like, I haven't been in the stands lately, but I could offer some perspective.
No, I can't. I honestly can't.
If you're in the stands, take your phone.
That's right.
Oh, yes. Please do. If you ever go to a game.
Please.
Gaines report. He was at the FedEx. He captured some plays. And
beautiful stuff.
He was on their show.
Yes, he was.
I thought he brought it on their show. I was quite entertained with the whole thing.
Yeah. Definitely a great show. And then if you have not listened to Buffon 55, we had Arif Hassan of The Athletic. He did a great
Mitch can't throw left. That guy.
Everyone buried him for that.
He owned up.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
Man, I hope he doesn't say
that. Sounds just like Braggs when he's at the grocery store and they're out of
You mean 6X Braggs or Briggs, whatever? Yeah. What was the Akeem Hicks one?
With Brad Biggs.
That's it, right?
I gotta defend Biggs a little bit there, though.
I never thought that would happen.
Al, how did you feel about that when Biggs posted that video of Akeem limping down the hallway on the way out to the bus? I mean, I've seen that 1,000 times on TV. And then Akeem, I don't know. I know everybody was laughing and everything like that, but I'm like, man, I would have preferred myself, Akeem, not to go at him that way. I thought that was kind of crazy.
I missed that. What did Akeem do?
He took a picture of Brad Biggs standing in the locker room. You know, he's a huge dude, and he goes, only a guy that wears a 6X shirt would post a video like that.
Yeah.
And tagged him.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. No, of course.
I understand, and Akeem was probably pissed and fired up about the injury and everything, but
right.
I'm like, dude, you see that video after every NFL game when somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
I saw Kyle Long's dick.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of things going on with this Bears team, and I've never seen a player take a fucking fat joke to a level.
Yeah.
I just thought it was, I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit.
It was a bit much.
I thought it was a little aggressive
Brad, no one deserves it more than Brad.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, you can have your
what's his name? Biggs.
Brad Biggs.
Brad Biggs. Good guy. He's a good guy.
I would be willing to suck Aaron Rodgers' dick.
Hey, there's Dan Aguirre. He's back. What happened to Dan tonight? Why don't we have him around?
Oh, jeez.
We're not like you. We're grown-ups, motherfucker. Say hi to your dad.
Where was that from?
Eat shit, Gardaki.
That's from fucking Step Brothers. Every time I play that drop, you're like, where is that from?
I have
never seen Step Brothers.
No, I missed that one.
Oh, my fuck.
Matt, have you seen that?
Oh, my God, at least 20 times.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
I've even seen it. How do you not see Step Brothers?
You have to watch that.
Is that the one
That's
with Matt
Will
Damon?
Ferrell.
No. It's with Will Ferrell and who's the other dude? What's his name?
John C. Riley.
Yeah. They're like 40-something that still live with their parents.
With their parents.
Oh,
and the
it's
parents
glorious.
meet and they get together.
Yeah, I know
and
the
these
premise.
two become brothers now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boats and Hoes is my anthem. Like that's
they
just
made
the
a
greatest
video
song
for the
ever created.
Oats and hoes.
Yeah. I'd rather watch Downton Abbey, wherever the fuck that thing is called.
Oh my God! So
Whoa! What?
I was walking into the mall there Sunday, and there's a couple behind me, and the guy looked so fucking pissed
Because he was going. He's being dragged.
his woman was on the phone talking to her mother, and she's like, "Mom, I gotta go. Kevin's not very happy with me right now. The Cowboys are on, and he's DVRing it, but we're going in to watch Downton Abbey." And he looks at me like, "Dude, fucking put a bullet into my brain right now."
Did you say anything in that moment? To
I
him?
just gave him I gave him a fist bump. I held the door for him and gave him a fist bump. And I'm like, "Hang in there, bud."
At least you gave him something.
Yeah.
I would have totally did something else, but
You sure
He
that was?
obviously got caught with his secretary or something along
Yeah,
those lines.
exactly.
wow, what a fucking deal breaker.
Yeah.
You sure that
girl
wasn't
was
you,
running
Shayne?
his life.
Shayne, you sure that wasn't you?
No, definitely not. No,
Not this time. Not this time.
Yeah.
I am a dick.
Because
that was one of the very first ground rules that I set in place was that I don't ask for anything. I just don't deny me the Bears game and I'm not even gonna go to a fucking Marvel movie during the NFL draft.
Good for you.
I'm sorry, Joe. We're killing Joe tonight.
Do this. Reenact the conversation. I can reenact that moment with my wife. Can you guys? I set the tone. I'm like, listen.
Oh yeah.
I'm addicted to the Bears. I don't fucking drink.
Did you say you're a dick? I'm playing the role of your wife.
Not just a dick. Well, I am a dick. No, I'm addicted to the Chicago Bears, and I have to have those Sundays. Everything else is fine.
So Monday nights are fine?
Only if the Bears aren't playing.
Well, how would I know if the Bears are playing?
The schedule comes out in April. We plan ahead. I'm all on it.
Damn, man, you got it covered.
This is like footnotes for Joe Mandel.
When Eel and I first got together, we had the apartment there in New London. She was still working down there, and I was still in New York. So on weekends, I'd travel back and forth. And the Bears were playing the Seattle Seahawks, and I got up and I'm like, "Hey, babe, I'm going to take off early. I want to get back. I want to watch the game. You don't care, right?" She's like, "No, you're good. It's all good. I know you love the Bears." So I got up at like 5:30 and I took off, made it home just in time for the Bears game. Bears lost. It was the Johnny Knox game when he got folded in half.
Oh.
And she was not happy that I left early. She didn't talk to me for 3 days after that.
Well, I've heard, Shayne, I've heard that a lot of people have been blaming you for stuff recently. Family, friends, even people on Twitter.
Yeah, there's a lot of that shit going around.
And I wish the motherfucker
trying to figure out what he was doing. There was no rhyme or reason to it at all.
Blame it all on Shayne. Yeah. Blame it all on Shayne. When you got no rhyme. What else would you do when they put the blame on you? Blame it all on Shayne. Sing it with us. Yeah. Blame it all on Shayne. 'Cause what you do. That's what I do. I know that's Shayne. Shayne is wrong again.
At least my song was short.
Well, that was part of the design. Right, Aldo?
I'm going to have to clean that up before I post that on a podcast. That was pretty fucked up. All right, guys, we are 2.5 hours in. I want to go around the table, get some final thoughts, and then I'll play the final music, get some shout-outs, and then I'll do some editing on this, post it, and then I can go jerk off. So.
He's been at 100, baby.
He's been at 100. Matt Carstensen, I want to, first of all, before you share with us your final thoughts, I want to encourage everyone that listens to this show, and there are thousands around the world, to also make 20 minutes to listen to Cars Keys. That's hosted by Matt Carstensen, because he does an excellent job of detailing the upcoming opponent, what are the keys for the Bears to win, and he's been, you've had some misses, but you've also had some hits. So congratulations on those, and it's always very interesting what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's so much fun to talk Bears. I think, like most of us, I could talk 24/7 about them, and it still wouldn't be enough. That's why my wife kicks me out of the house. But I appreciate the opportunity for coming on with you guys as well today.
Excellent. We really appreciate it. So any thoughts that you have that you want to share about the upcoming game or anything that transpired today, and then we'll move on to Shayne and Phil.
No, I think for me, my biggest takeaway is I'm more concerned about Everson Griffin this week more than Hunter. He's kind of, to me, the more all-around disruptive guy. So offensively, they're going to really have to key on him. There's going to be shots. Xavier Rhodes is back to, no holds barred kind of Rhodes where he's grabbing, pulling. Hughes is coming off. There's a lot you could do against these defensive backs. If you just stop the pass rush and keep Mitch kind of clean, that's going to be the biggest key for me. So that's what I'm looking the most forward to seeing.
Yeah, I'm with you on Xavier Rhodes. I mean, he has always been a handsy defensive back, but sometimes when he struggles, he really amplifies those hands and becomes a liability. So I'm anxious to see that matchup between him and Allen Robinson, and it's going to be interesting to see the matchup between Adam Thielen, and I'm assuming that it'll be Kyle Fuller guarding him, but I'm not quite sure. That's going to be a great matchup.
That'll probably be Buster, actually, because they'll use him more in the slot.
Okay.
So I'll expect to see Buster on him. He's been really a pleasant surprise. He's been really physical. Well, yeah, I get it. We get it. But, a lot of people, we're going to take a step back. And even on that touchdown, right, he was in the middle of the handoff to the safety on that play. He was there. So that's going to be a really fun physical matchup. I'm with you. That's going to be a fun one to watch.
And, Matt, are you surprised that Sherrick McManus has not dressed for the last 2 games?
Yeah, that one especially because of how bad our special teams is. But with injuries, and I think we've seen kind of different plays where Prince is out for a little bit here and there, his versatility is really missed. So they see something in Houston Carson that I guess I haven't seen to date, and they want to have him be that guy. I just don't see it.
Excellent. Shayne, some final thoughts?
I had a little convo with our boy Greg Braggs yesterday on the phone, and we were talking a little bit about this game coming up, and he brought up a great point, and I'll share it with you guys now. You get that feeling I brought up that, this is going to be a playoff type atmosphere, or it should be. This is what the coaches should be talking about with the players. You got to come out, and this is, to me, and I totally agree with what Greg said, you go out and you win this game and you punch them in the mouth. This is where you begin your run. This is where you put you back on track. But there's also a negative here. You go out and you fucking stumble at home again in a big game. You might be fighting every single week. I don't want to say to be relevant, but to be a 500 team along the way. And I mean, nobody talked about that at the beginning of the year. So to me, this is an enormous game. You can't fall down 0-2 in a division and dropping both games at home. like that. It's a big game. I hope the Chicago Bears fans are ready to support their team and to get loud and to help rattle this Minnesota team. But most importantly, I hope that the Chicago Bears players realize what is at stake here. And just as much pressure as there was on Mitch to perform in Washington, we saw signs. There's just as much pressure on Mitch Trubisky this week, if not a whole bunch more, and Matt Nagy to perform. Because you can't. This defense we've seen, it depending on the coverages that they're playing. I mean, we were all thinking bad thoughts there in the second half for a little while. Like, oh, here we go again, that type of deal. So this is a big game. I just hope the fans, us, and most importantly, the players are ready and dialed in.
If I could for just a second,
Please.
that Green Bay and Minnesota last year, that tie between them early on in the season is what set the tone, right? Yeah. That's why they were 500 and barely in there. So you're absolutely right. These divisional games, you've got to come through, and with Detroit at least winning a little bit, and you can talk about that at some other point, but you have to stay pace for everybody at this point.
Right.
With you on that. Agree. Phil just reminded me that we did not do bear up and bear down. So you guys got a little bit more time where we can go around the table real quickly?
Yeah. Phil wanted to extend the show. Color me fucking shocked.
Who's ready to rock out with their cock out? This
Kyle Long.
is Bears Up and Bears Down.
This Barroom Radio. A bear up, a bear down. It's Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man around. A bear up, bear down. It's Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man around. A bear up, a bear down. It's Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man around. A bear up, a bear down. It's Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man around. A bear up. This week, Draft Dr. Phil and Shayne Marsaw, the smartest man in the bar rooms. Bear ups and bear downs of the week. A bear up, a bear down. Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man around there watching the tape and weighing. The game is done. The Bears have lost and won. They're playing the tape and grading.
Beautifully written and performed by Draft Dr. Phil. And the only thing that's wrong with that is that we're also inviting Matt Carstensen to give us his bear up and bear down player. And Matt, the way we play the game is that we always go with the bear down player, and that means the opposite of what it sounds like. We want to know which player you were down on. And so we will begin with you. Which player kind of let you down on Monday night against the Redskins? Unmute and we will be.
Yeah, that would probably help. What am I running at this?
You're our bear down right now.
Yeah, so it's absolutely. No, to continue on our earlier conversation, it's Ben Leno. I thought he made some strides, but if it's penalties and getting pancaked by safeties and cornerbacks, by far he's the one for me.
Yeah, I kind of like Charles Leno, but the more and more you guys have been talking about him and the more and more I go back and look at some of the tape, yeah, he's off to a slow start. But let me tell you one thing. Despite the fact that he has not been playing to his capabilities, he's still one of the best left tackles out there. I mean, to the point... There's just a lot of bad tackle play out there.
Charlie, come back! Come back, Charlie!
Shayne, tell us your
Charlie, come back!
Shayne, tell us your bear down player while I pour myself another drink.
I love Aldo. Look at him. If you would have saw him swaying and back, if he looked like Charles Leno on a fucking 90 protection where you just step back and blocks. That's what Aldo looked like. Go ahead, Shayne. You're bared down.
My bear down's number 29. I'm getting more and more. What's that?
Ooh, I'm loving this, you guys.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more disappointed in Tariq. You know, I brought up there, I don't know, a month or so ago, I got vilified by some people, the thought of, do you resign Tariq Cohen? And I said that I just don't. The guy's trending. I know that the offense is struggling, gets back to the offensive line, quarterback, there's issues, but I'm not seeing the explosiveness or even the concentration in Tariq whatsoever. He had that one nice run around the end there, and
nice play on the screen play too.
Yeah,
did it right
that's the one.
for the first time.
But that's, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I want to see one or two of those a quarter, not one or two every 3 games. And he's been one of my biggest disappointments so far in the season, Tariq Cohen. I want to see more. You know, the way that there was a point where people are saying, "Oh, he's Matt Nagy's Tyreek Hill." Give me a break. No.
Yeah.
Aldo brought that up on last call this week when you were talking about, are we going to have to worry about paying this guy prior to the season? Because you were like, I don't know if we're going to pay this guy. And then he comes out and performs like an undrafted free agent. I mean, what's his name?
The offense has played better. Like that first week, he had like 58 snaps. He was on the field all the time. The offense has gotten better as he's had a more reserved role and not played as much. So that'd be a good one to have as well.
Well, the thing with Tariq is that camp started weird for him. He shows up with that 3-wheeler bike and he's driving crazy around Bourbonnais. And then in the second practice that was open to the public, he had a couple of goof-ups there, and then he showed up on NFL Network and said, yeah, Mitch got on me about that. It's one of the reasons I love Mitch, because he takes leadership, and he told me, you got to get your head in the game, because he jumped off sides a couple of times, and he fumbled once in that practice. Did not have a good practice. And then throughout Bourbonnais, the practices that I attended, which were 9 out of the 10 that were open to the public, he never really flashed like he had in previous practices where he was making huge plays. And in fact, I noticed more of the mistakes than the good stuff. And now it's the regular season. You're hoping that, that was just preseason camp and that now he's going to do what we have seen him do. And it's not the case. He gets 4 handoffs, -2 yards rushing. His pass catching is nothing special. He jumps off sides against Washington. This is not good. And are we dealing with a player here who is just a little full of himself or taking it a little too easy?
Asking the question that I was going to ask you guys. Did he get so souped up, built up, being a smaller guy myself? Did he let it go to the extent where he's not working like diligently on his craft? I mean, I think that's where you're asking the question, Aldo. I totally think it was your fault when you locked him in that fucking chicken shack trying to get his autograph.
For those of you who don't know the story, I literally blocked Tariq Cohen from leaving a parking lot so that I could talk to him and take his picture.
No, but for real, the guy, he's Darren Sproles. That's what the role needs to be. Used in situations to take a mismatch to another level. That's what he needs, to put him out there. I mean, it's frustrating his performance in it to all you document it. Even the one-handed effort, Shayne, instead of just going for 2, catch the fucking ball.
Right.
Make a play. He's trying to be one-handed. I want to make fucking Sports Center or I don't even know if anyone.
He was brought here to be an explosive athlete and in a really essentially a big time slot receiver mismatch type guy. And I'm just, to me, he's just, I don't want to say he's just a guy because he does have a couple of moments, but other than that, I mean, he hasn't lived up even remotely close to what my expectations were in this offense with Matt Nagy. He really hasn't.
He's trying to make everything a home run, so he's getting too cute. Like, even his first year, he would see a hole and he would go through it and he would take it there. And now what we see is, like, he's just drawn to the sideline. He's trying to bounce outside, bounce everything, bounce, and he ends up going for -1, -2 yards and out of bounds a lot of plays. I mean, I just don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he's seeing, and it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, Greg brags with an excellent reminder in the chat room that Tariq his brother was shot and is paralyzed. That happened during the offseason. And to Jurko's point, when he said, stuff happens off the field that impacts players. And so who knows, perhaps, Tariq is dealing with that issue either consciously or subconsciously, whatever it is.
Right.
And so we've got to give him some slack. But at the same time, I know that when there has been, difficulties in life, sometimes when you pour yourself into your profession, to your passion, that helps you deal with loss and adversity in life, and maybe that's what Tariq needs to do, if indeed that is the case. So we love you, Tariq.
He also
Cohen.
did the Facebook Live thing too. I mean, that was fucking selfish.
Yep,
that's what it was. I mean, that's embarrassing for poor Kyle Long. Yep. I know he's taking a lot of jokes tonight. On the show, but I mean, you got to know us if this is your first time listening in.
Kyle's been on the show, so he would know that was going to come from us.
We make off-the-cuff remarks and stuff like that, really.
Yeah. Is it boring? Can we be nice to each other?
I love you. I love you guys.
You. Just for 2 minutes. It'll be the most boring part of the show.
Yeah, we don't want that.
evening.
We don't want no love here. Okay, so we got Charles Leno and we got Tariq Cohen. Phil, who do you got?
Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit like I normally do, and I would have
got 30 players.
I would have put Matt Nagy there had he not come out and said what I challenged him to do about the offensive line. The fact that he did that is a fucking mental note to all of those 5 offensive linemen. That's how you don't go as the coach in public on the thing unless you're sending a message to those guys and the coach that's coaching them. They got to be fucking better. The fact that he did that takes away my vote on him with all the cute shit and all the shit we talked about on last call, and we're going to document here forever. So I wanted to get that out there, that he earned my respect as a coach to do that, because it's imperative this week, this game. Shayne said it. It's going to be fucking playoff. You're at home. You're wearing the fucking 1936 jerseys. I mean, a fucking reporter's asking about, are you worried about the implications of race wearing those jerseys? Like, come on, guys. We got fucking, this is football. We're not, they fucking didn't wear it when no team had an African-American athlete. I don't even use African-American ever. I'm friends with everybody. Jamaican dude, the freaking black dude, the Puerto Rican dude. That's how I talk. So for anybody
you played volleyball with every one of them growing up.
Yes, I did. Every race, every color, every
dick size,
bisexual, whatever sex. I do have an issue, not to get off topic, with
too late.
Yeah, way too late.
Sex-changing athletes competing, like a guy that was now is a girl and he's running a sprint against my daughter, and he's breaking. She's break that. I just don't think that's okay.
Right.
If you are offended by that, I just don't think it's fair. I don't want to post a Facebook post on it and debate all these people. I want to use my voice. I think that is a problem, but
I'm looking in the chat room right now, and the only person that's upset by that is Bruce Jenner.
Okay. I'm glad.
I thought you were going to tell me it was Zimmerman.
I thought it was Zimmerman, too. I swear to God.
All right,
My bear down is Matt Miller. Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller, thank you very much.
Shut the fuck up.
Finally got
Die for the ball. I don't care what Carr says. It wasn't a perfect pass. Make a fucking play. That's what you are, a playmaker. You think fucking Michael Irvin, the playmaker, ain't laying out there? Maybe after he got paid. Or fucking
he would dive into it like it was blow. I mean, let's be real. That's what Michael Irvin would do, so it's fine.
Exactly. That's what you're out there to do. You want the ball? You want trust? Lay out. Stop putting his one fucking hand up. Even on that route that I talked about with you, Aldo, running the fucking bootleg, he throws it. It's not perfect for you, Anthony. So you just decide one hand. Yeah. I'm going to be on ESPN.
I wonder if his shoulder is what's preventing him from doing that. Because he had that shoulder.
He shouldn't be on the field.
Yeah,
like that's
take him off and put wings
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. But here's the other thing about Anthony Miller. Is that it's not just these one-handed attempts. It's him jumping off sides. It's him still not gaining 100% trust from Mike Furry, the wide receiver coach, who has a lot of input as to how many snaps Mr. Miller gets. There is a huge problem going on with Anthony Miller that is beyond what we're seeing on the surface.
I agree.
This could be a huge bust. And Cars, I'm motivated by your second Cars keys of the season when you talked about the importance of Anthony Miller on this offense and the investment that the Chicago Bears put into him, moving up in the second round to trade for him. I'm concerned about Anthony Miller. I'm concerned.
Just that little shallow cross that he took, I believe, for a first down. Did he look? To me, he didn't. He looked like he was not fluid. So maybe it is an injury.
That's how he's never been the most fluid guy because he's always kind of trying to be herky-jerky to keep people off because he's not the fastest. He's trying to keep people guessing. That was the kind of play that you want to see him get into, but otherwise, no, I just don't. There's something missing. And if you look at all the other second-year guys that were drafted around him and how they've taken off this year, the Bears were counting on it, and he's not delivering it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. All right, we're going to play a little bit of this music to signify that now we're going to go to good news because we got to cheer people up. This team is 2-1. There's been good performances in Week 3 against the Washington Redskins, and we'll start with Matt Cars. Who did you like?
Oh, I have to pick one. That's pretty tough. So for me, I think we talked about it earlier was David Montgomery. The guy's being able to make something out of nothing. He is, to me, the guy that the offense has to be built around. When Shayne sent the tweet today of Jordan Howard losing 2 yards on a perfectly blocked play, it was in Philly. I mean, if you watch that play, tell me what you think that Montgomery would do. So he's been a bright spot for me. I'd love to find them in more use. I'd like to see him out wide a little bit more with Cohen in the backfield to throw a little one off and give him some confusion. He's been fun. He's a lot of fun for me to watch.
Excellent.
I love him. I love the pick. I totally agree with you. He's in my top 3. And I just think the world of this kid. I thought of him coming out. I think it shows up in the preseason, just like Javon Wims. Like, that has to say something. I don't give a fuck what you invested in Miller. Get Wims in the game if this kid can't play. But onto Montgomery, the things he does in short area space and burst and power and patience and instincts, to take him off the field, you're taking 80% of your production out. So it's up to you as the running back coach, you as the head coach, you as the offensive line coach to say, we're going up against our division rivals. They run the ball well. We need to run the ball well. We got this bell cow. I don't give a what your offense is. It has to go through him. You want to get to the dance? Mitch will be okay. Relax. He's going to be okay. This back needs to get the ball. I love the choice. He was tremendous. I don't think people even understand, because Ryan Clark's running his mouth about Mitch, how awesome what he did in that 4-minute drive to get that field goal.
Yes.
It was him.
One eternity later.
All right, Shayne, your turn. Your turn, Shayne.
Well, Aldo, you might know where I'm going with this. You and I had a little private conversation on Slack right after the game.
Yes, we did.
And I know I always get made fun of here because I go to special teams guys.
Kicker.
But I'm going to Eddie. You had people like Phil whining and trying to vilify Pace, saying this is fucked up. God, fucking, what the fuck is he doing? So I had to slap him and get him back in line a little bit.
He did. But I just was worried that it's gonna come into kick, and it did. And go ahead.
But he missed the field goal, made the first one, bounced back. But to me, like, I had this little conversation with Aldo. I said, I think, it probably. I think a lot of it went into this. This could have been a little bit of a part of the test, about the circus that they made of bringing all these guys in. You're testing this kid even more. All right, you're dinged up a little bit. Go out and perform.
Nice.
You're on the stage. Go out and do it. And I told Aldo that night, I don't think that's going to go overlooked within Hallis Hall.
Absolutely.
The kid went out there. You could see him struggling. You could see him limping, but he went out there and he swallowed hard, and he made the kick. Yeah, he missed one, but he made one. And I think the teammates see that. I think the front office sees that. The fans saw that. The media sees that, and I think that counts for a lot.
And his quote afterwards, right? A lot of other guys play hurt. A lot of other guys on this football team play hurt. I'm going to do the same thing. That's a phenomenal thing. Cody Parkey would have taken himself out of the game, and we would have had Pat O'Donnell kicking, right? Like that. That's
he would have been over there rubbing his rosary beads, not wanting to go out onto the field.
Texting Kathy Lee and Hoda the whole way through. Yeah, for sure.
Wow, this kid's stepped up.
But no, I was a Pinheiro fan, Big Nuts Eddie putting that kick through in Denver, and typical Chicago Bears fashion, the kid goes out and gets dinged up. But I wasn't even mad at him for missing the field goal. I probably would have been, obviously, if it was a game changer. But to me, the kid showed a ton of heart, and I think it's really going to go a long way with him in Chicago.
My mom has a message.
Oh, Shayne, it's true.
Man, she sounds so vibrant
You are
tonight.
the smartest man in the bar room.
She sounds a what?
I couldn't even get a little glimpse of Eddie Pinheiro's song. Jesus Christ.
Oh, I can play that for you.
I thought you had it queued up. I got to be honest. I was like, I just got to bust his balls with a little Pinheiro.
I know, I fucked up.
Did you say a little Pinheiro? Are we bringing this up again with Kyle Long?
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Phil, tell me who is your bear up, and then we'll hear a little Pinheiro song.
Well, Shayne was the crossroad pick for me, because I was like, if Shayne takes the layup, then I got to pick somebody else like Kyle Fuller and give him some props. See how I did that, Cars? I still got my second.
Very clever.
I got to go definitely number 52. He is everything you could have asked for and more. It's like you pray your daughter brings home Khalil Mack to be her husband, because he's like perfect in every way. And as a pass rusher, he is the Da Vinci Code of pass rushers. He has it figured out. And he, as you guys were talking about Hunter, he's 20 times Hunter from the
Absolutely.
Vikings. He fucking destroys your whole game plan in one single play. And that kind of player is why, to Shayne's point, and I thought you Cars had an excellent, you're fast forwarding to the Super Bowl contention because of him. I think that's absolutely true. I think that's why a lot of the shade goes to Mitch, because you got to speed up, you got to be perfect, you got to be great, you got to do this. because this guy is so dynamic and everybody feeds off him. But then you add a ha-ha Clinton Dix that can make Eddie even better. This is why this defense, 28-3, these guys were on another level in regards to what they were doing to the Washington Redskins offensive line. It was I can't wait to watch the tape. But I know I got to focus on the offense, and I feel like I neglect them based on the time it takes to do it. But to watch it on television, Mac just is in another world with his movement in a short space to get to the rusher. I don't give a fuck if it's a Pro Bowl tackle, your backup, you're chipping him with 3 guys. He's getting there and finishing and going after the wherewithal to throw his hand and strip that ball from the kid it's just tremendous to watch him. So he just makes everybody on an already good defense that much better.
Hey, I got a quick bear down and bear up myself. First of all, the bear down, whoever the fuck came up with that Bradley Sowell to tight end idea, fucking bear down. Get the fuck out of town with that idea. It's probably the same guy that came up with the idea of having Taquan Mizell on the roster and then moving him over to wide receiver and taking snaps away from some promising young player who could play that position. Stop with the fucking innovative shit that's way out there and make some better decisions on player personnel decisions. That's my bear down. And then my bear up player, well, Danny Trevathan, I think, had probably one of the top 3 games that he has at a Chicago Bear, but that's not my bear up player. My bear up player, I'm with Shayne. It is Mr. Oh, yeah.
Chicago, a Nicaraguan hero, a Cuban hero, a kicker.
We finally have a kicker in Chicago.
I Cindy Vane, Eddie Pinheiro, Eddie Pinheiro, Eddie Pinheiro, extraordinero, extraordinero. Eddie Pinheiro, Eddie Pinheiro, Eddie Pinheiro, straight like an arrow, right down the middle, finally prospero, it's Eddie De Niro, money kicking, Eddie Pinheiro, yeah, Eddie Pinheiro, gotta kick Eddie Pinheiro,
We finally have.
Oh, I love this song. Heidi is not in the chat room. I wanted to know from her where this ranks on her top Draft Dr. Phil songs. I am, at least for now, putting it in my top 10, and then when we do our review of our favorite Draft Dr. Phil songs, I will come up with my official listing for this song, but I'm telling you right now, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Pinheiro.
I know
I'm
Steven.
skipping that show.
Hey, Ice in the Vein. Ice in the Vein came through. Like, that lyric is so true.
Steven Zimmerman says he doesn't really care for this song, but, that's not...
Barroom, we keeping it 100, baby.
Thank you, Kyle. All right, we are now at the part of the show where we take about 60 minutes to go through shout-outs. I'm going to go with Matt Carstensen first because he's got kids that he's got to get ready in the morning. So if you want to do your shout-outs and then run off to bed, you're more than welcome to. But and if you don't get a chance to hear my shout-out, it's going to be you, Matt Carstensen, because you have just done a great job of at the very last minute popping in here and participating in our show and giving us your wisdom and also that's right, it was a surprise, and also asking some great questions of Mr. Jurko. So Matt, why don't you go first with your shout outs?
I have to say Bears Twitter has actually been enjoyable the last week, which is not something that I can always say.
Cars doing meth must be, huh?
just a little bit.
I've never heard that in the same sentence.
We've been so down. Everybody's kind of rallied this last week, so it's been a lot more fun to be there for a week, and I will reserve my right to change my idea next week when everybody shits the bed over something else.
Excellent shout out.
We are Saturday once again.
There you go, Saturday. Thank you, Matt. More than welcome to stick around for our post-game show, which is where we turn off all the microphones and we talk about Stevens and Zimmerman. So
absolutely, I'm all in.
Shayne, some shout outs, please.
I'm going to shout out a Chicago Bears player and Mike Davis. Yes. I think we were all texting each other. I know Cars and I were during the game like, they're not using this dude at all. And then it comes out today that his father passed away last night, and had texted him, to please, still play in the game. And, it's not everybody, not everything is going to be, Brett Favre going out and throwing whatever it was, 4 touchdowns in the first half the day that his father died. Everybody handles things their own way, and that's perfectly fine. My heart goes out to Davis's entire family, but him. I mean, he had such a nice post on Instagram with pictures of his dad. I mean, I felt emotional just for Mike, and he's a guy that I've never met in my life and probably never will. But I went through a little bit of a scare with my dad, and shit becomes real quick when you see somebody that you've been around your entire life. When you see them, somebody that you looked up to your whole life, see them that very well could be on their deathbed, and it really struck a chord with me with Mike Davis. And I'm like, wow, it's not every guy's gonna go out there, and I don't think less of him at all. I'm glad the Chicago Bears organization jumped in and really probably made the decision for him that, hey, let's just pump the brakes a little bit. As much as we love football, there's no football without family, and that should be everybody's number one. And like I said, just thoughts and prayers out to him and his entire family from me and everybody here, all of us tonight. The bar flies, Bears bar room overall. So Mike Davis, we're all here for you, bud.
Very, very well said, Shayne. And I also want to shout out the Chicago Bears organization for addressing the controversy regarding the uniforms that they're wearing on Sunday. They did an excellent video. I tweeted it out, retweeted it out on our Bears Barroom account. Those of you who have not seen it, just make every effort you can to see it. It's about 3 or 4 minutes long, and there's a number of players, including African-American players, and the chairman, George McCaskey, talking about that those jerseys that they are wearing on Sunday were first worn by the Chicago Bears in the 1930s at a time where segregation in America just meant that athletes were not allowed to play with black athletes. People of color were not allowed to play with white athletes. And so that was an issue that was brought up, I think, by some of the Bears players. And so they all got together, talked with the organization, and Akeem Hicks on that video said, we're proud to now wear this jersey and be the first African Americans to wear this jersey. So it was as opposed to, taking a more controversial stance, it was a moment of harmony and forgiveness, and we're moving forward. So that was a great thing. I also, as I mentioned earlier, wanted to shout out Cars for coming in the last minute and hitting it out of the park, or stepping up in the pocket and hitting a guy in stride. And I also want to give a shout out to Greg Braggs, because I was talking to John Jurkovic at Jurkovic. I did it. Jurkovic. Jesus.
You're an ass.
I was talking to Jurk at Bourbonnais, and here comes Greg Braggs, and he says, Jurk, you should be on their show. These guys talk about this. These guys talk about that. 100 Proof it's perfect for you. And Yerk says, give me your phone. And he punches his phone number into my phone. And so Greg Braggs made it happen. Greg could have just easily said, I want him for Shy Fans in the Stand. But he knew that Yerk would have been an absolutely perfect guest for 100 Proof. And that's being a team player. Greg Braggs, I love you. You're my buddy. You're my friend. And you are forever in my list of guys I am indebted to.
Have to buy him a White Claw.
There you go. A whole case of White Claw. I bought one for my wife. You know what? She hasn't opened it yet. It's in the mail, Greg. All right, Draft Dr. Phil.
Fuck it, Coach Nagy. He's going deep.
All right, Phil. I've got 4 minutes of music. Take it away.
Oh, no. You stole my shout out.
Oh, okay.
Aldo, because you skipped me. Usually
all right, if you
go
drink,
last.
I usually do go last, but this time I wanted to go third. You back clean up tonight.
I'll step up in the pocket, but I do want to double down on Greg Bragg's positivity, compassion.
Looks like Kyler Murray stepping up in the pocket.
Yeah. Like throwing downfield.
Greg is pitching for Jack Daniels, not White Claws. But I think that
when we were tailgating with Greg, we couldn't bring it, so he's like, "I'm just gonna throw this whole fucking bottle of Jack out." I go, "You are?"
What?
It's like, "Yeah." I go, "Let's fucking hide it." So we ended up hiding it.
Yes.
But I don't remember if he went.
Did you get it back, or did you forget about it?
I don't remember if he went and got it back. But that was the Tampa game last year. He fucking probably left it, that motherfucker. Threw it out. Anyway, I was like not happy with him with that because I wanted him to keep his Jack. But anyway.
That's his fuel. That's what gets him going. So
yeah,
we gotta
he does. Believe me, that dude gets going. He's not all rainbows and sunshine. I'll tell you that. I wanted to shout out Isaiah Robles for.
You think he'd get isn't it Robles?
No.
Robles.
No, it's not, man.
Really?
Robles?
Yeah.
How?
I'm pretty positive he's just letting you slide. I'm pretty sure he's just letting you roll with it.
Robles? Aldo.
It's Robles.
Is he in the chat?
No, he's not tonight. I've never heard it pronounced that way.
Robles.
I know. I'm pretty sure he shared it in the chat one night, but he's like, "Yeah, you guys have done it so much, I'll just let you roll with it." You know,
McClendon. He should correct us. We'd like to try to get it right.
It's only his last name. Fuck it, he'll get over it.
McClendon over here. Even Jurkovic said a McClendon tonight. I was like, "Oh, you know Aldo?" I want to shout out Eric Edison on Facebook, who is doubling down on being a barfly for life.
Nice.
As well as Trey Pugsley on Facebook.
Pugsley?
Like, yeah, maybe it's Pugsley, but Pughsley. Pugsley, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Let's get the cars to make sure this is correct.
I have no idea. I've got nothing.
Pugsley. I'm going to go with Trey Pugsley. Great dude. Again, another guy. I'm a fucking barfly for life. Loving Bears Barroom and what we do here. Anthony Walker, also another barfly. Miguel Rodriguez. He is also a barfly for life. George Berlissimo Bayless. Wanted to shout him out for all the stuff he sends me and keeps me abreast of when the All 22 is in, across the pond available, but it's not here. I also wanted to shout out Joey Two Scoops.
Joey Two Scoops?
Yeah, Joey Two Scoops. I got his wedding invitation.
Oh, beautiful invitation.
I checked. The first thing I fucking checked, I go, did he put it on a fucking Sunday in the fall, this guy? That was the first thing I checked. It's a Saturday, but it's like Thanksgiving weekend or something.
Perfect.
So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go.
Come on in, brother.
I'm definitely sending 2 scoops of fucking nice gift. And he
can't wait to get a Trap Dr. Phil t-shirt.
Exactly. I said that's why I beat you to it.
His and hers.
And a t-shirt. It's a 100 proof t-shirt. Jackets.
Those are nice.
Those 100 proof t-shirts people want.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Like I walked down the street. I was at the Six Flags New England, and people were like, "Where'd you get that shirt? Where can I buy it?" And I'm like, "It's 100 proof."
Hey, let me tell you a quick story. Some chick came up to me, beautiful chick. She comes up to me and says, "I will suck your dick for that t-shirt." and then I woke up. All right. Go ahead.
I wanted to shout out my cousin Kevin for keeping me laughing this weekend, and he did this, Aldo. You ready?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, I got it. Hey, can I tell you, Phil Ottochian? He's a great guy. Let me tell you something. He's the 100 proof of the Bears barroom. But you know what? I got that little secret from Condoleezza. Her name is Condoleezza Rice, okay? Don't be a dick, Cheney.
I don't know you do all these impressions. So he was doing a bunch of impressions, and I'm gonna send them to you, Aldo, because they were great.
Tell him that I need to talk with him, because I've been looking for somebody to do some impressions for us here at 100 Proof.
He does a spot-on Arnold Schwarzenegger and George Bush. He had them both talking. It was funny.
Nice.
I wanted to shout him out. And all the barfly. Heidi from Mexico National, as Dan would say. She's
let me tell you, let me give you a shout out for the Tape Never Lies. 41,757 views for your last one. 456 comments. Here's a couple ones. This is from Demi Frazier. Bro, I wait for this every week. Just seeing it pop up makes my workday better. We as Bears family appreciate your hard work, and that got 110 thumbs up and absolutely no thumbs down. Your comments on Charles Leno, got a lot of.
Don't you do this to me. I do not want to be tied in with that guy. Come on.
And I'm just saying that there are a lot of people down on Charles Leno after watching The Tape Never Lies. And I can go on and on with the complimentary comments on our YouTube channel for your work on The Tape Never Lies. So thank you very much for that, Phil. And I want to also tell people that if they are drinkers, like I am, stay the fuck home. buy yourself a microphone like I have. And this one costs about $115. Start your own podcast and stay off the roads, all right? So long story short, if you drink, please do not drive. And remember, always, bear down!
Bear
down. Robles.
Tomorrow night or Thursday, The Tape Never Lies.
Yes.
Robles. Not Robles.
It's Robles.
Podcast version.
Robles.
I'm going to reach out to him on Facebook right now and ask
Bring
him.
him on the show.
We've learned something today. That's what truly matters.
Yes. Who are you going to trust on
We
names?
learned a lot.
Who are you going to trust on names? Me or Aldo?
It's definitely changed.
Yeah, really.
Blame it on.
Oh. All right, let me stop this from being live.